Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. Visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/darkness, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/darkness. expressvpn.com/darkness to learn more. Welcome in, everybody, to the best in true crime talk radio. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm Tim Dennis. Had an interesting weekend, folks. I tell you, every once in a while, I like to bring you stories that I myself can get pretty darn worked up about. And I found a story that I myself got worked up about. And it's not too hard to put yourself in the shoes of someone and just want to rage for them. I found a story that I ended up sitting down over the weekend and reading. And man, I tell you, I cringed. I cringed throughout the entire story as I read it. Not only because sometimes it's justice blind, it's deaf, it turns its face to the other side, and it just doesn't want to look at injustice in itself. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Melisa Schonfield, is a successful psychotherapist, respected pillar of her community, never been in trouble in her life. Her daughter's boyfriend begins abusing her daughter and her young grandson. Now, we all have issues in our families. I know I've had issues in my family. I've been in a situation before in my life where I absolutely wanted to kill my sister's ex. And I mean it, kill him. I was lucky enough to have a stepdad who pulled me aside and said, "Son, you don't want to throw your life away." Truer words have never been spoken. Melisa decided to take matters into her own hands. She hired a hitman to dispose of the boyfriend. The hitman turned out, as she attempted to hire him, turned out to be an undercover cop. This got Melisa into some trouble. We'll bring Melisa on now to talk about that trouble. Melisa has a book out there called Bitter or Better, the Melisa Schonfield story. We're going to talk to Melisa this hour about her journey, her incredible journey of being convicted of a crime that really all she was doing was trying to save her abused daughter and her abused grandson. Let's welcome into True Crime Tuesday, Melisa Schonfield. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me this morning.
Man, Lisa, I'm telling you, I read this book and it brings back a whole lot of emotions on my side. And I'm not going to make the show about me. I knew the feeling the minute I started reading, and I felt the helplessness. I felt the rage. I felt the want to protect that person you love, and you know that you see things going a certain way. If you can recap for our audience what it is, and I love the term you came up with for this boyfriend, POSSD. And you can say it here on the show. I don't mind. Okay. Tell us what POSSD means.
Well, we were sitting at the dinner table, and this is after my daughter and my grandson had moved back home. And I didn't want to refer to him as a father because he wasn't a father. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to refer to him as the piece of shit I thought he was. And I'm going, piece of shit, what is this? And I smiled and I went, posse. And everyone at the table looks at me and I went, piece of shit, sperm donor. They smiled. They went, perfect. So that's what I always refer to him as, posse.
Posse.
So POSSD. Yeah.
Yep. It's perfect. And he made your guys' life a living hell. You really did.
Yes. When the baby was 5 days old, there are three other, my grandson has three half siblings. Two of them are twins. And the twins were playing, I don't know, a video game, maybe just watching TV, but it was extremely loud. The baby was hungry and he's sitting on Pasid's lap. And he puts his fist to his stomach and says, "Quit crying or I'll punch you in the belly." And in that moment, I remember thinking if I said something to him, he really might hurt the baby or he'll take it out on my daughter. If I say something to my daughter is afraid of him. She's not going to say anything to him. I'm going to be the brunt of this. So it wasn't going to end well for me no matter what. And I kept my mouth shut. And right afterwards, I remember thinking I will never be quiet again. That this is awful. And a 5-day-old baby to have that kind of frustrated parent was something I could not comprehend.
Man. And believe me, Lisa, believe me, I don't blame you one bit for thinking, at this point, I got to do something to save the both of them. And it
was more than that.
No, I know, because it doesn't. And let me preface this by saying it is a sham to think that just pulling them out of a home is enough. To file a restraining order is enough. It isn't, because let's face it, there are many, many women who are pursued regardless of restraining orders, regardless of changes of locations. There are abusers that won't stop because they're cowards. They're cowards, and they believe that for the first time in their life, they've attained power.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop. They get drunk off that power of fear and intimidation. But, if for the first time in their life, and this is just my rage coming out, and I probably should shut my mouth right now, but if for the first time in their life, they literally, and forgive my language here, Lisa, if they literally got the shit kicked out of them, and a good one at that put them on life support, you better bet they'd back down.
Yes, but the person who puts them on life support
is going to jail.
Is also going to wind up where exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
right.
But it's a matter of, you know what? A bully only understands their own language.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And it's not. And I know I may get some emails after this saying, well, Tim, that's a real archaic way of thinking, or it's a real, caveman way of thinking. It's true. It's just true. That's all they understand.
Well, trying to stop a bully, it's at the beginning of the word is bull. And if you've ever tried to stop a bull, you can't. And all it does is frustrate you, hurt you, brings you to anger, and the you don't know what to do with it because there's no way to stop it. And I had even called Pasid on the phone and said to him, "Just leave them alone." And he laughed at me. Mm-hmm. And I hung up even angrier and more frustrated. So you can't reason with a bully. There is no way to negotiate or rationalize anything with them. They believe what they're doing. It's their power trip, and they're going down that road.
And possibly even laughed at the authorities. He ran a scheme on them and said, "Oh, no, everything's fine. I haven't been doing anything."
Mocked everyone.
Yeah,
exactly. He mocked all of us.
Yeah. But yet continued to do despicable things. He continued to text your daughter, ask for despicable photos of her, demanded things of her when he had no right. He had no right. He wasn't in her life.
No. And honestly, when my then husband went to go pack them up, because we were in New York, she was in Florida, when he went to go pack them up, he got them out within 6 hours. The moving people were amazing. Her landlord couldn't be more helpful. Everyone was terrific, but they came home the Friday after Thanksgiving. And Saturday night, my then husband phoned Posse to say the baby's no longer there. Neither is my daughter. They're living here with us. And the language that he chose to speak to my then husband was just uncalled for. But again, you still couldn't reason with him. But he had the opportunity. He could have come to New York and said, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I have to do better. Or this is my baby too. He never did any of that. For 6 months, my grandson had to stay in New York in order to be a resident. Mm-hmm. So at any time, this man could have come back up and said, oh, no. He belongs in Florida, and the courts would have backed him. But he never did it. He never made any effort. So that said a lot as well.
Well, of course he wasn't going to come back. I mean, because that would have required responsibility.
Right.
And he didn't want the responsibility, Lisa. He didn't want to take care of your daughter and your grandson.
Not at all.
He wanted control over them, but he didn't want to take care of them.
Right.
And that's the MO of every single abuser out there.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And by her leaving, he lost that control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, he had other families out there. Your grandson has two half siblings out there who got the same abusive treatment. He's had other significant others that he's given this same treatment to.
Yes.
And I'm curious as to, and maybe I could ask you this, and you know this, you may not know this. Have those significant others managed to get away from his grasp too?
Some of them have. To the best of our knowledge, he's in another relationship now with a young child, and he's trying to show what a great guy he is, and trying to engage with the kids again. And it's not going to happen. I mean, my daughter is very diligent about keeping her son safe, mm-hmm. and has made clear that Posse is not a safe person for him to be around. The twins and their older sister, their mother and my daughter are very good friends. They're like sisters. And the despicable things that he did to their mother was just absolutely atrocious. And she took a lot of the physical abuse, where my daughter did most of the emotional. And that was emotional. You don't see the scars. Physical, you do. Not that one is better than the other, but emotional abuse is hard to tell people, look what he's doing to me.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to see the black eye or the broken rib. You only see someone who sinks inside of themselves and just becomes more and more depressed.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to say, look at me and look what he's done to me when there's no marks.
Right.
But it still is damaging. It's still as soul sucking, if that's a term we can use here, as anything else. Yeah. And as far as Posse goes, you can try as hard as you want. A leopard never truly changes its spots.
No, they don't.
No.
You're right.
Eventually he'll revert back. And it's when she wants to assert some sort of freedom or say, I want to go out and do this, or I want to go hang out with the girls, or I want to go do something that's outside his realm of acceptability, that he'll come back to the old Posse.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So walk us forward a little bit here, Lisa. You've got your daughter and your mm-hmm. grandson out of that situation, or out of Florida,
yes,
back to New York with you. You're noticing that your daughter is different. She's just a different person. Tell us what happened, or what kind of person she was before she left, and what kind of person she is as she's gotten into your home.
Well, what's interesting is I have my daughter back now. She's back to being the person she was meant to be. I mean, she's strong, vibrant, all the things that you want for your child. But she's not a child. I mean, she's 39 years old now. But what had happened when she came home, she couldn't, she was a great mom, but she couldn't be there for herself. She was so sad. You could tell that something happened to her physically, in that I could not just hug her without her jumping and wincing. If I was, I don't know, doing anything, I could not touch part of her neck. You can't come up, from behind her. She's got to be able to see you. She became very short-tempered, but very reclusive as well. Sleep disturbances, all the things of somebody who's been through a really, traumatic adventure, for lack of a better term. And I had to respect that, because she had to heal in her own time. Mm-hmm. And all I could do was be a mom and just be there for her and be there for her child. So I tried to make things easier by saying, go out, go meet your friends. I got the baby. I'm all right with that. We worked it out with, my work hours. It was difficult. My husband at the time would encourage that as well. I remember one night the baby was screaming, and I'm thinking, if the baby's screaming, where is his mother? I went upstairs and she was just in the shower crying until the hot water ran out. Mm-hmm. Now, part of that's normal of being a mom when you reach the point where this child won't stop. But she's doing this by herself. So she's a single mom now. And also she's trying to heal everything that happened to her. And she wants to keep her baby safe. And he was not safe yet. We were still dealing with the wrath of posse between the phone calls, and then we wound up going through a custody battle, which it didn't wind up being custody, but we were going through the courts, and there was no feeling of safety. He knew where she was and where this baby was. So if someone drove slowly by the house, she would wonder, are they taking pictures of the house because of its location and it's beautiful? Or is he getting, these pictures to see where we are? And it was a very anxiety provoking time. There was no exhaling. And my marriage was already, that was already failing. So there was no respite. It was constant stress.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
During this time, I mean, you'd mentioned the episode of your grandson crying and not being quite settled. What were the effects that you saw with him? Was he much like the same? Did he seem like he was quite traumatized and shell-shocked?
Not at all.
No?
He's a resilient kid. Mm-hmm. And I joke, he's 10 now. Mm-hmm. And I've always joked he's this little old man that he's going on, he's really a 60-year-old man in this little body. He has seen things that probably most people haven't seen in a lifetime. Mm-hmm. But we talk about it. And we try to make it, we do make it age appropriate. Unfortunately, doing what kids do, he found some of the recorded shows before I went to prison. Okay. And needless to say, it was extremely disturbing to him. But again, we had to talk about it to make it so it was friendly for him. And that was a lot of work and a lot of effort. My daughter did an amazing job doing that. Mm-hmm. But it was a process. And every so often, he'll come up with something and talk about it. For him, the big issue is dealing with people with loss. Of people who were in his life that have left for whatever reason, or like my dad. My dad's passing was very difficult for him. He was close with my dad, worshipped my father. And when my father passed away, that was a rough time. And even now, periodically, he'll have a rough time thinking, I really miss G-pop. And he'll ask me how I feel about it, how I do it. And we talk about it. There was when my dad passed, it was Thanksgiving of 2019, and he wanted to be in Arlington Cemetery. So we had him interned over that Memorial Day. So here it is. It's the height of COVID. We're going to Virginia, and I spoke with the liaison, and I said, I don't want to be given the flag. I want to bypass myself, my brother, and my children. I want it to go to my grandson.
Oh.
They went, okay, it's not protocol, but we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandson didn't know we were doing that. So the Marine got down on one knee and handed the flag to my grandson, and he held it like a baby, like he wasn't going to let it go. It was just like this. And he's trembling. And we had to walk from where the service was to where my father was actually interned. And this little boy just held on to this, just like this. He would not let go of it. And he was 7 years old at the time. And it was so symbolic, but it was so meaningful. And to be able to do that for him, it's like, it's not a loss. You've gained something.
Right.
And that honor. So we try to bring that to him so that he has meaning for things that have happened.
Right. Yeah. And I suppose so young in life, he's gone through so many losses that
Yes.
for him, everything from here on out, do you stress to him that everything from here on out is a gain?
Well, life is not about what happens. It's how you choose to go through it. Mm-hmm. And there will always be things that you're blindsided by, and you don't get to choose the event, but you get to choose how you're going to go through it. You're going to go through it with grace, or you're going to go through with it being angry. And for me, anger is a short-term choice. You're allowed to get angry, but, let it go. Anger eats you up alive. And when you're a little boy, you're trying to find yourself anyway. Mm-hmm. He's being raised, by two women, basically, a mom and a grandmother. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting adventure for him. So we try to give him the soft side, of talk, use your words. You can get angry, go run around outside, go run around the house a few times, or go run around the pond. But you're going to put the anger in a proper place. His biological father did not put anger in a proper place because he took it out on women and children.
Yes.
So it's about changing the narrative a little bit that, you can be just like him and do this, or you make the choice, no, I'm going to handle things differently. I want to be better. And that's what it comes down to.
That's an amazing lesson. And a great way to put it for him, because I think you'll agree with me here, Lisa. I think it's a very real fear that he would potentially go down the same road his father went.
Right.
At least without tools. And he does. Right. You are giving him the tools to move forward and to be able to handle anger when it comes up.
Well, but you also got to feel for this kid, because here it is. I'm a retired therapist, and my daughter is a therapist. So the kid, he'll look at us periodically and say, "Do not therapize me." It's like, okay, well, we're going in the other direction then. So it's kind of fun. He's got the tools. We give it to him, but sometimes we just have to back off.
But that's a real concern, though. I'll just speak for him. My mom was a drug and alcohol counselor for years and years and years. And I think that's part of the fear of being raised by someone in the business is to be able to separate work from home life. Yes. Not bring work home, and you know what? Treat me like a parent. Don't treat me like a client.
Right.
Don't bring work home, and don't assume I have something I don't have.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Because as far as I know, I'm healthy. I'm not an addict. I'm so young. I haven't even dipped into it yet. So, don't give me dysfunction before I have dysfunction, Well,
and I also think it's keeping him busy. And my daughter does an excellent job with that. He's a very good athlete, my grandson, mm-hmm. and she keeps him involved with all of that. Before I got out of prison, the two of them, that was it. It was the two of them together. And one of the reasons she moved where we live is because of the gym they have in after school care. So he was able to go to the gym supervised after school. And the program was amazing where, rock climbing, there's 3 swimming pools there, everything is right there. And I think by keeping him busy and using that physical energy, it also helps to keep that anger in check and where to put it when you get upset. So it's a lot healthier.
Yes.
And we do not believe in spanking or hitting that way. And especially coming from what my daughter left, that would just be repeating what she was trying to leave. So there are so many other ways to give out consequences than to, smack a kid and say, oh, you're not going to hit anybody else, but it's okay for me to do that to you. So it's being creative with punishments. Some of them are just absolutely ridiculous that, he won't do something again because the thought of having to do whatever the consequences is like, no, I'm not doing it. So it's, and it's also about laughing, that if you can teach a child to laugh at themselves, it takes down the stress, the seriousness of it. And, life has enough curveballs in it. Why give yourself more than what you need?
Yeah.
So learning to laugh is a biggie, a real biggie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, Lisa, we'll take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk about the actual day and time where you decide to, in an irony of all ironies, I'm going to say the pun, pull the trigger here, and decide that you're going to hire the hitman, where you've decided enough is enough because the stress has become too much. Right. We come back, we'll talk about that fateful day and what made you decide that enough was enough. And if you believed it was divine intervention or if you believed it was a curse. I really want to get your perspective on this. We'll do that when we come back. Our guest is Melisa Schonfield. The book is out there right now. We've got a link to it in the description of this show. And the book is called Bitter or Better, the Melisa Schonfield story. I encourage you to go out there and pick it up. Folks, we're just getting started with this because there's a whole journey in there of Melisa's not only incarceration, well, not only her arrest, but her incarceration as well, which we'll get into in the second part of the program here. And it is fascinating. Man, you want to talk about someone who's been through a hard road here. We'll get to it here in the second part of the program. Melisa Schonfield is our guest. When we come back, what caused Melisa to want to kill Posse? We'll put it that way. We'll do that when we come back right here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm Tim Dennis. The book is Bitter or Better, the Melisa Schonfield story. Melisa Schonfield is our guest. And when we last left you, we were talking about that fateful day, the day where Melisa's decided enough is enough. Posse, as we're calling him, or that piece of shit sperm donor. I'll go ahead and say it, Melisa. The man, and I struggle to even call him that, the grown child who has been abusing your daughter and your grandson. Well, it's kind of time for a reckoning. Let's call it that. It's just time to do something with him because he's avoided law enforcement. He's still torturing your husband, you, your daughter, your grandson. He's making life a living hell for everybody. And law enforcement isn't doing anything. Restraining orders aren't working. Nothing's working. Right. Tell us the level of frustration you're at this point, Lisa, and tell us what exactly drove you to the decision that you made and put us through that process and how it ended up and how it came out in the wash.
Well, the courts, my daughter wanted to get the baby a passport. And in order to get a passport, she needed his signature, Posse's signature as well. And we had gone to a lawyer for sole custody so we could kind of bypass this. And the first two court appearances, he did not call in because he didn't have to show. His lawyer was there. And the third time he did call in, and ever so polite. And the judge awarded him 4 supervised visits over 2 years. And if he made those successfully, he could have the baby by himself for a week. And in my mind, this was not something that was going to happen.
No.
So I was in the bedroom reading several weeks later, and my daughter and the other baby mama, so my grandson's half sibling's mother, they were friends. And Posse never changed his password in Facebook. So they're reading his Facebook, and she's translating the other baby mama because it was in Spanish. And in it said that one of his mother's friends was going to be coming up from Peru. And when she got to Miami, Posse was going to marry her. And she said, I can't wait to raise all 4 of your children, especially the baby. So in my husband's mind and my mind, he's going to take the baby.
Yeah.
So my husband walks into the bedroom where I'm reading, and he says what just happened and that this has to end. This is too much already. It has to end. So in my mind, end means done. So he says, who do you know? I went, I don't know anybody. I mean, you know more people than I do. And then I thought I did know somebody. And I phoned him. I asked him for help. He told me he couldn't help me, but he called me back. He texted me 10 minutes later and said, I'm working on it. In the 10 minutes that it took him to hang up the phone and text, he'd already called the police. The police said, see how far she'll go. I believe it's called clickbait. And instead of helping me, they were going to help get me arrested. So about 3 weeks went by, and I got a phone call from a guy named Jay, and I thought it was actually a patient trying to make an appointment with me. And he told me no, he was a friend of the guy that I had called. And could I meet him in 15 minutes? I said, no, I can't. I'm an hour and a half from home. He was okay. Well, how about we meet at the mall in an hour and a half? I went, okay, I can do that. What I didn't realize, I never told him what car I was driving. How did he know what I was driving?
Yeah.
So they were already watching me. And I get to the mall. He gets in my car, and good-looking guy, looked like Ben Affleck. I mean, it was kind of funny. And I asked him, are you a police officer? Are you wired? And he laughed and he said, no, I'm former military. And then he asked me to move the car, and because a security truck was driving around, and it was making him nervous. What I didn't realize, he was nervous because he wanted to make sure they were recording and were able to see me. So I explained the situation. I said to him, look, I want Posse hurt so he can't hurt any other women or children. And Jay looked at me and said, I don't leave witnesses. And I thought, I'm a witness, so I'm going to get killed here anyway because I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
I'm not going alone. So if I'm going to die here, so's Posse. And that's how this whole thing blew up to be larger than life. And I made the mistake. No, he said to me, are you going to need to see a picture when it's done? And I thought, and I went, I don't know. I don't know that I can handle that. And he said, well, there's a thing called Snapchat, 10 seconds, and then it disappears. And I went, well, what are you going to do with the body? Now, I have a very dark, sarcastic sense of humor, which clearly was not very funny when I did this. But I said, you're going to be in Florida, throw it to the gators. And by merely saying body and being that kind of sarcastic, I was going to prison here no matter what, because that indicated I wanted someone to die. We agreed on a price. I was going to pay him half the money beforehand. And I was supposed to meet him the following week. And I did. I came with the money. My husband then had gotten me a burner phone. My father had sent the money to the office. So the only people I thought who knew were my father, my husband, myself, and Jay. Little did I know that, the entire police force knew. And I met him at the infamous Walmart parking lot at 7:00 in the morning on Halloween, 2014. I gave him the money. He showed me some pictures of places that supposedly Posse frequented. I had no idea. He told me that I gave him the wrong home address. I said, well, that's interesting because that's the address he gave the courts. And he he asked me, "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" And I'm still thinking, I'm a witness here. I said, "Yeah." He gets out of the car, and I'm thinking, I really can't do this. And I saw the vehicle he went into, and I saw the light go on in the car, and I slowed up. And for a nanosecond, I did think, I can't do this. I have to stop it. I didn't stop the car. I kept going. I get to the red light. I wait for the light to change, and I make a left onto the main road, and 3 police cars with sirens come out of nowhere. And I'm thinking I didn't go through a red light or anything. And I don't know how they managed it, but I wound up pulling over into the hotel parking lot, where I rolled down my window, and there were 3 police officers, and the female looks at me and says, "Please get out of the car." And I said, "Well, what did I do? Why'd you pull me over?" And she said, "We believe a crime was about to be committed." I got out of the car. I was not scared or nervous. You want to talk about being in shock.
Yeah.
And I was brought down to the police station. I called my husband, who was shocked that I was arrested. I was arraigned, and I collapsed when I was arraigned when I heard what my bail and my bond was. My bail was $250,000. My bond was $1,000, and they would not allow me to be released on my own character, my own recognition, that I had to stay in jail until we could get either the bail or the bond. And in this case, we had to do a bond. There was no way we were coming up with that kind of money. And so I was in jail, county jail, for 4 days. And then, so I got out, I think it was November 3rd or November 4th. And then the grand jury, the indictment was sealed. It was unsealed on New Year's Eve, and they wanted to go ahead. So there was enough evidence. The DA decided that I was a flight risk, that they wanted an ankle cuff on me. So I felt like a wild animal when they put that on me. And that's the really lousy road I went down. I wanted to commit suicide. I didn't think I could go to prison. The media turned me into a monster, and you start to believe it after a while. And I was going to walk into the not quite frozen lake yet and just let hypothermia do its thing. And I was in my closet crying because I knew what I was about to do. And my grandson, who was a little over 2 at the time, comes into my closet and looks at me. And my husband follows. And I realized in that moment that if I was to commit suicide, I die guilty, and I die as the woman who tried to kill my grandson's father. So I decided this was not a good idea. And as if friends knew I was in trouble, some of my closest friends called me, and the question I asked them was, "Why are you my friend? Why do you love me the way you do?" And the answers they gave me the strength to at least go on, because it was 8 months between being arrested, and actually, no, it was 10 months between being arrested and actually going to prison. June 16th, I quit working because I accepted a plea deal. And my husband had told me, "We are not getting lawyers and going through a trial. This is going to be too much. Just accept the plea. You could wind up going to prison for life." So I accepted a plea. The DA wanted 15 to 25. The judge overruled and said, "If you won't come down on a charge, we're going to the minimum." So he said 5 years. And my 5 years turned into 3 years, 9 months, and 14 days because of good time and the fact that I worked a certain program and I was in prison to get more time off. But I was scared to death, and I played stone cold bitch, that I'm not afraid of anything. And I didn't do it real well, and everyone knew I was terrified. On August 19th, 2014, I remanded myself. It was my grandson's 3rd birthday, and I wanted something good to happen on that day. So it was his birthday. I spent, I think it was 11 days in county before I was transferred to state. And it was nothing like TV. It was a lot worse. It was a lot more lonely. The food made school lunches look like gourmet meals. I didn't understand the sense of control and power that the correction officers, and not all of them, had. And it was an abusive power, which in my world was unnecessary. So I had to learn how to navigate that and to also be tough without losing who I was. 6 months in, my husband comes to visit me and tells me, I'm divorcing you in case I meet someone I like. I don't want to look over my shoulder. He already met somebody, and apparently people were talking because I was getting anonymous letters about what he was doing.
Oh my God.
I pleaded with him. He wouldn't wait. Because of the women I was housed with, I made it through the divorce. Otherwise, I don't think I would have. It was a sorority that no one really wants to be part of, but they would not let me fall down and stay down. They made sure I ate. They would bring me food. If it was a bad day and I was just crying and wouldn't come out of my room, we had rooms that were not really cells in Taconic, and you were in by yourself, so you didn't have a bunkie. And they would make sure I was okay. And then after crying at least once a day for a year, one day I just didn't cry and realized I'm going to be okay. And the COs were very good to me in that I was writing children's books for my grandson while I was in prison. I was also writing my daily journal, which is what the book winds up being that I wrote. And I always faced the gate. So I got to see people coming in and going. And I also had southern exposure. So for the sake of drawing, I had perfect light. One day I was looking at the gate and cars were coming in and out. And I remember thinking, prison's just geography. I got rid of the real prison I was in, which was the prison of marriage. That marriage changed who I was and made me do things that I never would have thought of any other time. So you can't underscore the stress of a marriage when you don't have that support of a partner, or to know that you're loved unconditionally. And these sound like excuses, but they're not. It sets you up to do stupid things down the road. So in the way of protecting my daughter and my grandson, it was a given because I couldn't take care of the marriage. So I kind of focused on what was going on with them. Prison does not help anybody. If you are a drug user, prison is the wrong place to be because you could probably get any drug you want there. Very few people come out better for prison if drugs are the issue. Most people thought I was there for a money crime. And when they heard, oh no, the old lady's not here for a money crime, she tried to kill somebody. You know, they kind of look like, whoa. I was badass granny, I think, at one point. But my daughter and my grandson would visit me once a month, and they have an amazing toy room in prison for kids. And all the women that I was housed with would hang out the window when my daughter and grandson would come to visit. And the Spanish women would speak Spanish to my grandson, and they would make him little gifts, and then I would bring it down through the visiting room. And my grandson loved it. The same kids were there when he was there. He got to know the women. And that was his normal. And at first he thought I was working for a school. And then I said to him, no, this is where adults go for timeout. And adult timeouts are a lot longer than yours. And slowly he had put together where he had asked questions like, well, what did you do? And I said, well, I did something I shouldn't have done. I did the wrong thing for the right reason. And then he had gotten into a recording of a show that I was on before I went to prison. And he looked and he said, you tried to kill somebody. I went, yes. And several weeks later, he looked and he came to visit and he said, you tried to hurt my father, but you kept me safe. And I just looked and it was like, whoa. And it was so powerful to me that this little guy, he was what, maybe 4 or 5?
Yeah.
And that he was able to put this together. His mother never stopped him from, being able to talk to his half siblings or their mom or even the other family. The only thing she kiboshed was what was going on with Posse, because he even with Zoom phone calls, he was making fun of my grandson when he'd have an accident being potty trained. food, anything. It was not a healthy relationship. And kids have enough issues in life. Let's not make it more difficult for them than necessary.
Right.
So the court order ran out in 2016 that she actually had to do these Zoom phone calls each week. And then it ran out that the 4 visits he was supposed to make, he never did. He only did one of them. So they just let the court order run out, and that was it. He never spoke with them again, no letter, no nothing. And you would think if he really wanted to be a father to this child, you would write letters. You would send a picture. You might send a Christmas card. You might send some money.
Yeah.
The only thing he ever paid for was a vaporizer. He never even paid for diapers. So the onus really was on my daughter. And like I said, she did a great job. And my then husband and I, we helped out financially. And actually, even after we were divorced, we were still helping out. He was still helping out a little bit. When I got out of prison, I was either going to have to go to a shelter or someplace that was already set up. And my daughter said, no, you're going to come live with us. I said, oh, okay. So my grandson turned his playroom into a bedroom for me. Oh. And 2 weeks in, it was very sweet. And he was afraid that I was going to leave him. So he would sleep in the same area I was sleeping. And he'd hold my hand or hold on to my nose. And it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to go to sleep. And 2 weeks in, I said, come on, we're going to go look for houses. And it was June. He was out of school. Mm-hmm. And the first house that I looked at wasn't on the market. And it was perfect. And he picked out which room was going to be his when he would visit, because originally we weren't all living together. And I bought the house. My daughter thought I was nuts till she realized why I needed to buy a house. And she was having issues where she was living. So I said, move in. I have 3 bedrooms. I have 5 acres. Come on over. So my daughter, my grandson, and their 2 dogs moved in. And I won't say it's perfect, but for the most part, it's a great family thing to be able to have extended family living together. I get to, see my grandson every day, and while she's working, she doesn't have to worry about childcare. That mm-hmm. it's win-win for everybody. So, yeah.
You went right to the happy ending, Lisa.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Although I did want to ask you some questions about jail.
Sure.
But no, there's nothing wrong with it. Spoiling the happy ending. There's nothing wrong with that. You always got to have a little bit of dessert ahead of time just to kind of, life is short. Do dessert first, right?
Well, you make a choice. Do you want to be angry or do you want to be content? And I chose content. But mind you, I still get angry. Oh, yeah. But you had to let it go.
So, I teased before the break. Was this a bit of fate that happened to you? Was this the thing that... Is this the way you would have wanted it to go? Or let's play a little what if, okay? Let's play a little what if. What if that killer that got into your car that day was not a police officer, but a real killer?
Now there's where it's divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I am grateful it was a police officer that got in the car with me. If I would have had a hand in actually taking someone's life, I am with 100% certainty, I would have committed suicide within a year afterwards. I don't think I could have lived with myself. 1, the secret of that. 2, knowing that I intentionally had a hand in someone else's life, ending that, I don't think I could have done it. I am the person who gives a fly every opportunity to get out of the window or the house before I take out the fly swatter. So for me to even think of taking a life, the desperation, the point that I reached, because there was nobody helping. There were no systems that were doing what they were supposed to do. And I know there were things that I could have done, but I couldn't think of them at the time. Mm-hmm. And there was the secret of the marriage that, on the outside, everything looked perfect. So you don't want to ruin that illusion to other people. So you can't go to them and say, hey, look, I can't handle all this stress. I've got this going on in my marriage. I've got this going on with it. It's not safe. And every time a car slows up, we're going nuts. Every time the phone rings or there's a text message, it reached the point it was enough. So I am grateful every day that it was that police officer in the car. Now, what would have been more effective is that the police knocked on the door when they caught wind of this to say, what is going on here? We know we got this phone call from this guy. What's going on? We know you've had problems because we know we've got, we fielded all the phone calls. What is happening and how can we help you? That's not what they did. And that's where the justice system failed me and my family.
Yeah. This is going to seem like kind of a messed up question, but I'm going to ask it. Okay?
Yes.
Keep in mind, devil's advocate. This is why I'm throwing it out. Let's say it was, again, that it wasn't a police officer. Again, it was a true stone cold killer out there. You order the hit. It happens. Do you feel at this point now, because let's face it, your ex at this point plays a bit of a coward role. He lets you take care of it.
Not a bit. He was a coward.
Yes. So he lets you order the hit. He lets you take the fall. And then he exits the marriage and decides to go with another woman or women or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you order the hit and you get away with it, at that point, do you feel like he has new respect and goes, whoa, if she can get a hit out on a guy who's messing with my daughter, she can turn around and have me killed? Do you feel at that point he stays around or he quits his cheating ways?
I don't think anybody ever would have thought that wasn't where this was going. I also believe that had this been a real hitman and I was the witness, I would have died too. So I think at some point, because I was a witness, I know who this guy was. So there are so many, ifs that, in terms, would he, if he was a real hitman, would he have killed me as a witness? I don't know. Would I have stayed with my husband afterwards? I think we were going down the road of divorce, but I'm not sure we would have actually gotten to divorce had I been there. I think he was also lonely, and that was another part of the problem. Would he have stopped his cheating ways somewhere down the road? I'd like to think he would have. I don't know. I don't know why I put up with it for 37 years, but, there were a lot of good times in the marriage too. It wasn't all bad, but cheating takes a lot out of you. Mm-hmm. The person who's not doing the cheating, you start to question what's wrong with you. You start to question what you think is the truth because the person who's doing the cheating is denying it, and you're thinking you must be out of your mind. So you're already set up with that stress, and it's cruel, it's sadistic, it's disrespectful. You're not happy in a marriage, then get out of it or find a way to be happy, but don't humiliate a spouse like that.
I'm curious as to why you think, because there's different hits that happen all the time, and it's a business transaction. Why do you think that a hitman would have killed you?
Well, because while I was in the car, he said he doesn't leave witnesses. I'm a witness. I know who he is.
But again, could be a throwaway line to make you think that he's legit.
Possibly, but again, I was willing to die at that point. I was willing that if this posse's going down, I'll take whatever I got. At least I know my family's safe. And I don't want to sound like a martyr or anything else, but that I'd had enough. And I think I was in enough pain with the marriage that I didn't care what would happen to me at that point. Just keep them safe and let this little boy grow up to be everything he's meant to be. Yeah. And that's where I was at. Yeah.
Again, we're not trying to give away the whole book in one shot here, but there are some incidents in jail that are disturbing. Among some of those are the healthcare issues in jail. Yes. You suffered a lot of different healthcare issues while in jail. And speaking as a fellow chronic pain sufferer, it sounds like a nightmare to try and get anything treated in jail.
It is. There are physicians that come to the jail, but you have to drop a sick call slip and wait to be called in unless it's an emergency. I was told, well, I had lost 3 teeth in an assault and had my nose broken, and I wound up with a big contusion on my forehead. 9 days later, this was in Bedford Hills. 9 days later, I was transferred to Taconic. And the dentist there was awesome. She did her best to help me and give me back, some of the teeth. And the nose, I wound up having to have surgery on. But in the interim, because I lost teeth, my teeth moved, and I wound up with a sore on my tongue. So it wasn't the dentist, it was the head of medical. And I later learned that her husband ran New York State Doc's medical division. So reporting her did nothing. They had 2 different last names. She insisted I had smoker's cancer, but I've never smoked. So she says, I don't care. That's what it is. So they send me to an oral surgeon in Westchester County where they cut it out and they suture my tongue up. And I'm put into the infirmary back at Bedford Hills. Now I'm supposed to be on a soft diet. For whatever reason, they thought putting pizza in a blender would be a soft diet. Oh. So now I have the acid from the tomato sauce and the grains from the pizza crust. Thank God for pregnant women because they store food. They hoard it. Mm-hmm. So they had pudding and Jell-O and all these things, and that's what sustained me for the week that I was in the infirmary. And by the way, it was not cancerous. So fortunately, the tongue part grew back, but the inmates were the ones who were wonderful to me, where they made sure I had food I could eat. They prepared things to make sure I was all right. I very rarely went to the mess hall to eat. We had different, cooking groups, and they took care of me. I was having surgery to get the nose fixed, so I go for the pre-op, and my blood pressure was high. So they give me a pill, make me sit there to drop the blood pressure. This was on a Friday. They cancel the surgery. And on Sunday, I just don't feel good. I'm restless, but I'm tired. So they make me go to the clinic. So, all right, I go to the clinic, and they want to call the doctor because there are no doctors there on Saturday or Sunday. My blood pressure was up to 185 over 145, which is stroke material. Mm-hmm. They had me... They wanted me to wait. I said, look, you know where I'm housed. I'm not sitting here. I'm going back to lay down. And it was like 500 feet. It wasn't a lot to walk, but I was on the 2nd floor. So I was told once I was there, I had to get stated down, which means I have to put my uniform on. And it means I'm going on an outside trip. With that blood pressure, they had me walk down the steps and walk to the clinic where there was an ambulance waiting. But before that, you get strip searched, handcuffed, and shackled before they put you in the ambulance. Now here, you're worried about me stroking out. You've got an ambulance here, but you had me walk by myself. Mm-hmm. And still, yeah. So it was amazing. So they bring me emergency to Westchester Medical, and they were afraid that the aortic valve blew. Yeah. It didn't. I was fine. So then they bring me to the prison facility, which is Montefiore in Mount Vernon. And they were concerned, heart, what is it? So I was in a different unit before they realized I had what they called an insignificant blood clot. Now, you need to know, according to cardiology, there is no insignificant blood clot. Right. They put me into the prison ward. I stayed in that filthy ward for a day or two before they sent me back to Taconic. And they put me on blood pressure meds. But they said, since you had a blood clot, you need to be on Eliquis, which is a drug that thins the blood so you don't clot. Well, the prison says that's not in that's not on our list of acceptable drugs. We're going to give you heparin injections. So at every injection site, because they give it to you in your stomach, I can't clot. So they wanted me to give myself the shot. So I went, no, I'm not doing that. I'm coming to the clinic. You're doing it. So it was the weekend, and my brother had flown up to visit me. And he looks at my shirt. He goes, why is the bottom of your shirt so dark? And I'm looking, and then I look at the floor, and I'm bleeding. Oh. So I go up to the officer who was in the visiting room, and I refer to her as Miss Inept. And I always said, I have a hearing issue. She says, what did you call me? I said, Miss Inept, because my name is Miss Epp. And I went, I said that, Miss Inept. So I would kind of play up the hearing issue. And I said, I am bleeding and I don't know what to do. And she was very annoyed, called the sergeant. Sergeant looks at me and he goes, look, you got two choices. You can either finish your visit, however long you want, and then go to medical, or end your visit and go to medical. My brother stepped up and said, she's ending her visit. She's going to medical. So they wanted to take me back out again. I went, no, I'm not going back out. So the nurse overrode the dispensary and said, we're getting you the Eliquis. And that's finally, what happened. So I was on that probably for about 3 months. And I said, why am I still on this? So I went for a stress test at Fishkill. And the cardiologist there, they do the pictures and everything, echocardiogram. They didn't do the echocardiogram there. And they're telling me everything is fine. Well, in June of 2020, I had to have my knee replaced. Now I'm already home. I'm on parole. And the pain of my knee was so bad that I was often out of breath. After the knee surgery, it was worse. I wound up going back to the doctor, and as a fluke, they wound up catching my heart in a CAT scan. And I had an aortic birth defect valve. And if I didn't have it replaced within 3 months, it would have blown. Jeez. So prison truly would have killed me. Had they done the echocardiogram, they would have seen that, we have a valve issue here. The heart murmur became so loud that even I could hear it. And I had the valve replaced. I had to get a pacemaker. It was quite the adventure. And prison does as little as possible to keep you healthy. My joke was, if you're breathing and you have a pulse, you're a healthy inmate. To get any kind of medical you need, you have to fight for it, or you need to have outside family who is constantly calling the prison or calling docs in Albany. You have to stay on top of it. Otherwise, you will fall through the cracks. Too many women wind up with breast cancer or ovarian cancer because of the low-grade soy-based food that they feed us. There was a label on the package that would say, not for animal consumption. So why are we eating this? Which is one of the reasons why I very rarely went to the mess hall. I went on pizza day, and if they were serving real chicken. Otherwise, no, I would have my one meal that we would collaborate, with a group. I cooked with the cartel. They took very good care of me. Those Spanish women were amazing. And, that saved me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I was reading through the book, and I was just going over for lack of a better term, trespass after trespass after trespass upon your person, I just shook my head. And it's not, I know I may get a few emails saying, well, it's kind of a bleeding heart way to think about it. These are prisoners. But you have to think as well, these are human beings. These are people who, although they committed crimes, sure, they made mistakes, doesn't mean you're not entitled to humane treatment.
Very few sentences should be life sentences.
Right.
And I know before I went through this whole ordeal, I used to think that people in prison had it easy, where they have their cable TV and college is paid for. And, while part of this is true, it's not the glamorous vision that you see that Hollywood portrays. Prison is boring. Every day is the same thing. It's Groundhog Day. And unless you do something to make it different, it's horrible. You might have cable TV, but how much TV can you watch? And it's not in your room either. You've got to go down to the rec room, and everyone's got to agree on a TV channel. And for that reason, I cannot watch Love and Hip Hop, 90 Day Fiance, or any of these other ridiculous shows.
Right.
Because that's what I watched. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
College, I was grateful. You had Bard College there and Hudson Link. And when a lot of the women realized that I had taught college sociology and psychology for 7 years and that I was a therapist, they would say, could you read my paper? Or can you help me? It was like, yes, I'm going to get back a couple of the IQ points I lost. So that would help me. And I was always interested to see what grade we got.
Mm-hmm.
The cartel, their biggest problem was they needed to pass a GED in order to get that extra 6 months off their sentence, but they couldn't give them the test in Spanish. So they had to be able to read enough English to understand what the instructions were. So I would help with that. My math skills were not great, but after working in a pre-GED class and my daughter sending me Algebra for Dummies, I became very proficient. And I was able to teach them algebra, which was awesome. Knitting, at least teaching someone how to knit or fixing something that they messed up, it just changed the day. So it was okay. Otherwise, I just worked in the morning in the school building, and the rest of the time I either read, knit, or I was writing, or I was typing. I would drive everyone nuts with my typewriter. But yeah, and it was a really difficult existence. And I counted every single day I was there. 1,385 days, longer than Kennedy was in office.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. Lisa, I guess I would ask you at this point, and you kind of alluded to it, you said that, I'll just say it again, blessing or curse? Do you think your time in jail was more of a blessing or a curse?
I think it was both, more of a blessing than a curse. I went in believing it was a curse. And once I chose to be true to myself and not try to be this tough woman that I wasn't, to be, mean and, scary granny. Once I just decided to be who I was, that I am a person who helps other people. That's in my nature. That was the profession I was in. I don't charge people if they need help. The big commodity in prison is cigarettes. So you get paid in cigarettes. You pay for services in cigarettes. And I wouldn't charge people. You needed something sewn. I'll sew it for you, but let me show you how to sew so you can sew. Reading student papers, I didn't charge. That you need help, it helps me too. So it was win-win that way. I got rid of 250 pounds of baggage, my ex-husband, and I couldn't have done it any other way. And the divorce was a curse until it wasn't anymore. And then I realized the only real prison I ever was in was marriage. Prison's just geography. It's what you do with your time that makes it the blessing. You can, it's not a place I wanted to be. Like I said, I met some wonderful people who I wouldn't have had an opportunity to meet any other way. There are several women who I still am in touch with. And soldiers need to talk to each other about the war experience. Well, prison's the same way. Are inmates entitled to things? The punishment's supposed to be being removed from society. Clearly, that's not the punishment. It's taking away your family. It's taking away any control you have. It's taking away your health, nutrition. It's taking away possessions where a correction officer can come in your room, do a search and say, oh, you're only allowed one pair of sneakers, so I'm taking the other pair. Throw it out or send it home. And why? What difference does this make? But you learn, just go with it. Otherwise, you're going to make it that much worse for yourself. So the blessing part is letting go of conflict in your life, realizing that so much doesn't matter. And all the possessions that we as Americans especially think are so important, it's just stuff. And don't get me wrong, I like my stuff, but it's just stuff. So that would be the blessing part. And also the way you value relationships. My grandson and I are very close. My daughter jokes that, we're like a married couple the way we bicker. But it's he's a really special little guy. And I have this relationship with him because of the circumstance.
There you go. Is there one thing that, I shouldn't say one thing, but is there a few things that you've been able to teach him from your time in prison that you feel he can learn about society that he can move forward with that you wouldn't have been able to give him without your time in jail?
Well, one, it's something he's not comfortable talking about with other people. He will talk about it, but he's very careful who he talks to. Um, as far as the things that I say to him, it's that anger, when channeled properly, is actually a gift. But when you don't channel it properly, that's when you do stupid things and you wind up in prison. And that's a place you never want to wind up. As bad as women's prisons are, men's are far worse, far more dangerous.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
The book is called Bitter or Better, the Melisa Schonfield story. Melisa is spelled Melisa. We got a link to it in the description of the show. I encourage you to pick it up. Lots more where that came from, folks, and a lot more than what we've covered here today. And I want you to pick that story up. Folks, there is so much in this book, just lessons in life in general. And you want to talk about taking an extreme negative and making it a positive. Lisa's done that, and it is quite the inspiring story to sit down and read. Lisa, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on True Crime Tuesday.
Thank you so much for having me.
Folks, it's that time where we kind of lighten things up. We're going to bring in Beer City Bruiser, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time everyone looks forward to on True Crime Tuesday. It's time for Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals. And for that, we need a co-host. And we go out and get the host with the most, the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
I'm doing fantastic, Cruiser. How are you doing? I'm ready to listen to some idiots out there.
Oh, God, are there
I've been
plenty?
experiencing some idiots around here and going to the gym today. There's a couple that I saw late. Now, I work out at a gym. You're not supposed to judge.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So I'm just not, we all get it.
Right. Yeah.
How do I not judge a lady dressed in her Sunday's finest,
Okay. Yep.
wearing Ray-Ban sunglasses, and like a 1980s Walkman, running on an elliptical?
Maybe she didn't want to get the good. I mean, the workout clothes are expensive these days.
Yes.
Let's face it.
This dress looks like her Sunday's best. Like she came from church right to the gym.
Huh. Well, when it comes time to do the leg press, everybody gets a show. I'm just saying.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. That's what I experienced today. That was how I started my day there, Cruiser.
I see.
So I can't wait to hear what you got lined up so I can just make fun of people. Because obviously you can't, I'm not going to walk up to a lady and start making fun of her as much as I'd like to.
Right. Yeah. I would think the gym would probably ask her if she had an appropriate attire to change into.
They don't care as long as you're at this particular gym. You're just not allowed to wear like the string tank tops and the workout shorts on men that are real tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. You're not allowed to carry around gallon jugs of water. You can wear whatever. Yeah. I've watched men work out in polo shirts and jeans, which I'm like, okay. I've seen cargo shorts. I've seen pants. But this was a first. This, this is a first. I've had a couple firsts this weekend. So
I can understand if you got to get back to the farm real quick. Sure. You just come in for a quick workout and head back. But I don't get coming in your Sunday's finest. I don't either.
I don't either. I was actually going to ask her, like, is this your church? Is that why you're dressed like this? Like, this is your holy place?
Maybe it was just a quick break from work and back in and just didn't have time to change. I don't know.
She had to get her steps in, right?
That's right. Got to get your steps in. That's just taking a healthy approach to it and didn't want to. Oh, I hate to ask if she showered in between.
Oh, I don't know. I left before.
Yeah.
She got done.
Probably a good thing you didn't ask.
Well, and I was wondering why she was wearing sunglasses too. Like, that help the aerodynamics?
So nobody could see her eyes and how much she was enjoying the workout. I have no idea. It's just bizarre.
You reacted like I was for the whole ride home. I get home, I get Ziggy Star Pup out of the kennel, I get her outside, and she's playing around, and I'm just, Ziggy, I don't get it. So I explained it to her, and she even sat there and looked at me sideways like, huh? And then a squirrel came by, so she was fine.
Yeah, she's like, workout? What's a workout? Yeah. I don't know, boss. I just kind of head out here and chase the chipmunks and the squirrels, and I'm good.
Yeah.
I had to have a... I'll make it quick. I had to have a one-on-one with Spud yesterday.
Oh.
We had to talk about when it's time to go to bed.
Okay.
Because the other two have been hibernating now for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I said, buddy, I mean, we're trying to get you as many seeds as we can here, but comes a time where the den is full. I don't know how full the den is, but it's, we're coming to that time. It's getting a little late in the season.
Yeah.
So we don't want to repeat this next year. I know you're a little guy. I mean, this is really your first full, winter hibernation. So, Yeah. Papa loves you, but you gotta get
out of here.
Yeah, get your shit together. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want him to freeze.
No, I don't want him to freeze. And that's the thing. Last night it was 38 degrees.
Ay.
Yeah. So I want to make sure he's okay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, let's move forward. Yeah. So, me having conversations with chipmunks, it's about time for people to start thinking about my mental health.
Hey, I'm having conversations with my puppy, and sometimes she responds. So,
there you go.
I had conversations with my cat last night.
Well, I think that's part of getting old. I think that's we look at our parents and go, "Boy, are they off their rocker," and then we start talking to different things, and people think, "Boy, are they off their rocker." I mean, your kids are probably looking at you like, "Boy, are they off their rocker." My nephews,
all my kids have thought that for years. You take chairs to the head, Dad? All their other friends are. They work in an office building.
Yeah. Why can't you just put on a suit and tie and go to work? My nephews look at me like I'm strange too. So I guess it's the same thing.
My son did go to school with a guy who made tables.
Really?
So I had a table match one time, and my son goes, "Yeah, my friend here makes these." I'm like, "Well, thank his dad, because they don't hurt as much when we go through them."
Thank you for the shitty workmanship. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Keeps my back from disintegrating.
Yeah, the first one I went through was fine. The second one tore up my arm, so I don't know who to blame.
Yeah, no. It's that, isn't it it's not the table, it's the binder around the table, right? That's so dangerous?
It depends on the table. So, like, older tables are that waffle material in between two vinyl things. So when you crash through it, the honeycomb just erupts, and that's what slices you up.
Oh.
And because normally those have metal around the edges. You take the metal off so that way it breaks. Yeah. The newer ones, it's the plastic around the edge when you break it. Mrs. Bruiser was asking me the other day, she goes, what's so, these matches must suck. They're painful. I says, no. I said, the worst part about doing something with a ladder, a table, or a chair is you don't know how that inanimate object's going to react when you hit it. Like when you fall off a ladder, you don't know which way the ladder is going. So most guys, that's where the pain comes in, because you land and you're like, okay, I'm okay. And then all of a sudden there's a ladder on top of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or you go through a table and it doesn't break clean, and that plastic piece around you get all wrapped up in and slices you. So.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's just it looks it does, no matter how, and like JR used to say, there's no way to fall. It's just, you don't practice that at home. Do you practice it at home?
I do not. I went to a training seminar one time, and the guy says, "Yeah, yesterday we worked on chair shots." And I looked at him cross-eyed. Said, "Chair shots?
Who works on that?
You did 2 hours of just hitting each other with chairs?" He's like, "Well, yeah, we didn't know it for wrestling." I go, "I learned how to take a chair shot the day I took the chair shot."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get in the ring. Here's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it once.
Exactly. You don't practice.
No.
Hey, Cruiser, let me hit you 30 times with a chair. You'll get it.
That's okay. I'll take it once, and we'll call it a day. And,
exactly.
Yeah. 30 times. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. Well,
we could have a whole episode on dumb crime, stupid wrestlers if we wanted to.
That may end up being an episode. There's kicking off dumb crime, stupid criminals today. The San Jose Fire Department as a whole may not be getting away with something, and it's on the sexy side, Bruiser. We're starting off slow and a little sexy, and then we're building up today. I figured because of we're starting off the week a little, we started off a little harsh with Melisa today, getting arrested for trying to have her daughter's abusive boyfriend arrested. So and then hiring a hitman. So I figured we'd kind of start a little slow with dumb crime, stupid criminals. We try to ease you in a little bit and then get a little harsh. What's that?
So we go from hired hitmen to sexy firemen.
That's right. Well, I don't know if they're sexy, but there's something sexy going on in the fire trucks in San Jose.
Yeah.
The San Jose Fire Department investigates a video of a bikini-clad woman exiting their fire trucks. I'll tell you this much. I don't think that's how they conduct training.
I don't know. They might.
I don't think it fits city code. I know that much.
Maybe they were shooting a calendar. Those are big things, aren't they? Are they still big, fireman calendars?
I think it's the firemen that need to be scantily clad, not anybody else.
Okay,
Yeah. The San Jose Fire Department called a viral video on Instagram showing a bikini. It was on Instagram showing a bikini-wearing woman exiting a fire truck concerning on Friday. In the video posted by San Jose Foos, that's FOOS if you're looking for it on Instagram, on October 6th, the woman exits a fire truck parked in front of the Pink Poodle. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So I guess we know where she belongs. And walks towards the strip club on Bascom Avenue. An investigation has been initiated to determine facts surrounding the video. San Jose Fire Chief Robert Sapien Jr. said in a statement, the city said that if an investigation uncovers inappropriate behavior in violation of the city's code of ethics, appropriate steps will be taken to address the matter. Oh, I have the video in front of me, actually. San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo shared a statement with KTVU. If the investigation concludes that this video is as bad as it looks, then heads must roll. We cannot have life-critical emergency rescue apparatus relegated to a frat party bus, nor tolerate any conduct that so demeans the heroic work of the rest of our San Jose Fire Department team. The Pink Poodle, by the way, has been in business since 1963. God love them, according to its website.
They were just checking the smoke detectors. That's all they were doing.
Yeah, they're making sure they're up to code.
Yeah, they were just going around, make sure they had all the proper extinguishers and everything.
Yeah.
The lady says, well, you're giving away free smoke detectors because that's what you can do. Go to your local fire department, free smoke detector. And they're like, sure, come on the truck. We'll give you one. She went on the truck. They gave her the smoke detector. Someone filmed her exiting. That's it. That's it. No crime committed. I solved this.
Look at you with the alibi. What, are you the manager over there at the Pink Poodle?
No, the San Jose Fire Department.
Oh, okay. The Pink Poodle did not immediately respond to a request for comment on this story, as they probably wouldn't. Of course, we'll keep you apprised of the situation as it develops.
Do you think they ask the Pink Poodle asked the people, well, was she wearing a top or not? And they say, no, she was wearing a top. And the Pink Poodle goes, we're topless only.
Yeah, couldn't have been one of ours.
Girl.
Yeah, we are a more less distinguished establishment. We go from Pink Poodles and bikini-clad fire truck
smoke detector recipient.
Oh, okay, sure, we'll go with your story. To a Texas bright-eyed peeper.
Oh, okay.
Who was arrested after allegedly looking in homes. This guy looks like he may be slightly desperate. I'm not going to lie.
Most of them are when they get caught doing this.
Mm-hmm. We go to Plano, Texas, where a 27-year-old man was arrested and charged after allegedly looking into homes on multiple occasions.
He just needs to go to Instagram. It sounds like Instagram's the place to go to find stuff.
There's lots of stuff on the internet. I don't know why anyone's being arrested now for looking into people's homes.
I don't know.
I guess it's the thrill of being caught.
It's got to be. There's got to be something with that. They can't find adrenaline. Like, that's how psychopaths are. They don't find adrenaline in normal stuff. So they got to go above and beyond. Like, it normally starts with peeping Tom, then goes to something else.
On September 15th, approximately 11 p.m., Plano Police Department officers responded to the 800 block of Bellflower Drive to a report of disorderly conduct, police said in a news release. At the scene, authorities reportedly learned that a woman used surveillance footage and witnessed a male looking into her home through a window. Police said the suspect was described as a white man with distinctive tattoos on both arms, wearing a T-shirt, light-colored pants, and dark shoes. Well, at least he's got the right color scheme for fall.
I guarantee it was not me, because you just basically described me.
Well, you're not in Plano, Texas either.
Right.
Police later identified him as Christian Eli Hardin Hoffman.
Oh, definite serial killer. 3 names.
Yeah, well, they always give you 3 names whenever you're arrested. Yeah, they give all 3 names. Although the way I said that, it was almost like Christian Eden Hardin Hoffman. Police spokeswoman Jennifer Chapman told the Dallas Morning News that the man allegedly returned to the same home on September 18th and peeped through the window again. He must see something he likes. Children were reportedly inside the home at the time, but not in the room the suspect was peeping in. Police announced that the bright-eyed peeper, as they are calling him, was arrested on October 4th in connection with the case. He was reportedly booked into jail for indecent exposure with a $2,500 bond. That means they have him on camera taking off one of those items.
Yeah. He's not just peeping.
Yeah. He was also cited for disorderly conduct for the incident on September 18th, that according to police.
The ladies are like, why don't you just go to my OnlyFans? You can see it anyways.
It's all up there for $4.99 a month. I mean,
yeah.
You don't have
top
to...
top 1%. Come on.
Yeah, and by the way, I met the pink parrot over the weekend.
The pink poodle.
The pink poodle, I'm sorry, yes. The pink parrot is over there in Plano.
The pink other end. Yeah, the pink parrot's the male side of that.
Yeah, they're the sister club over there in Plano.
Yeah, they have the beaks.
Yeah, they have the beaks, yes. They'll get you with the pecker if you're not careful. I don't know what that means. I just threw it out there. I had an interesting conversation with my brother over the weekend. He's about just a little less than 25 years younger than I am. Okay. So he's on the dating scene. Yeah. He's out there and he's using the dating apps. That's what the younger kids do. They use the dating apps these days.
Who has it more rough? They do or we did? We had to actually go places.
They do. I'm telling you, they do, because it's, it used to be, we would go into bars, or we would, we go to libraries, or we go wherever, and you talk to somebody, and you just get rejected straight up, I think, right?
Exactly. Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, now you meet somebody digitally, and it's kind of, you get a little bit of an introduction, and you think, okay, you've got a picture, and you don't know if that picture is really somebody, and then you're like, okay, maybe we can meet for coffee. And, we could get to know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But somebody could put on false airs. That's just the way it is.
Oh, of course.
And then you meet them in person, and it could be a complete nightmare.
Of course.
Right? So you can get some pretty entertaining stories as to what exactly happens on first dates.
Yeah.
Trust me, I heard some pretty entertaining stories this weekend. But nothing like the story I have in front of me.
Okay.
We're going to Colorado, where a woman allegedly duct taped, choked her Tinder date with a belt, threatened him, and then ordered delivery. Because why not, Bruiser? It's a date, and you got
wasn't in her profile.
No, but you got to eat.
Oh, you do got to eat. When you're kidnapping, you got to eat. Yeah, and you're eating for two essentially.
Well, the other one might not be eating, but you've got to eat. It's a date.
Yeah.
We go to Colorado Springs, Colorado. I don't know why I'm choking over that, but I am. A 22-year-old woman was arrested after she allegedly invited a Tinder date. I got to send this one to my brother, make sure that he didn't talk to her.
Don't swipe right. Don't swipe right.
Yeah, this isn't the one for you, buddy. 22-year-old woman was arrested after she allegedly invited a Tinder date over to her house and then cut, choked, and threatened to kill him if he called for help.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because that when it says psychopath on your Tinder profile, people usually swipe the other way.
I think she hid this one. Yeah.
It didn't say knife-wielding, duct tape kidnapper.
No. According
6 C's.
No. According to the probable cause affidavit on September 28th at 5:43 p.m., 2 Colorado Springs Police Department officers responded to 2540 East Cache La Poudre Street. That's probably not how they pronounce it there, but I did, for an unknown call for service. Oh God, I bet you they did. The cops didn't show up looking for a date either, I hope.
They'd be in trouble if they did.
Yeah.
She's got plenty of duct tape.
That's true. Dispatch reportedly told officers there was an open line in which someone in the background could be heard saying, "Because you cut me and you're going to kill me." Wow. When they
didn't duct tape his mouth, like, come on. That's it's 101.
Bruiser, it's a date. There's supposed to be open communication.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't
She just wanted to make sure he didn't leave so she can get that communication out.
Right. We don't duct tape our date's mouth because we're trying to have a conversation.
So the icebreaker is a duct tape into the chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We don't want him to go anywhere.
You have a lot to say, right?
Right. We have a lot to say. We want to have that conversation. We want that open two-line communication because we've seen that plenty of times on different shows.
Yeah.
That give us that advice. But we also want to be able to inflict pain if we don't like what we hear.
Ah, okay.
And we want to be able to feed them because we have dinner coming. Yeah. When they arrived, officers found a naked man in a parking lot who was bleeding from a cut on his arm. Wow, so they got to a lot more than second base, evidently. Yeah.
Is this guy happy or sad?
It's hard to tell. It really is. He was reportedly backing away from suspect Lauren Dooley. Guys, write this name down in Colorado. Lauren Dooley, 22, who was also reportedly had blood on her body. Oh, so she was going to work.
She bathed in it.
Yeah. Officers took Dooley into custody, but she refused to talk after invoking her Miranda rights. Of course she did. She wasn't talking. She wasn't saying squat. The victim, whose name was redacted from the affidavit, reportedly told police he matched with Dooley on the dating app Tinder and agreed to go to her apartment. Ooh, probably the coffee first. Always meet, neutral location, get to know each other.
Yeah, you don't go to their territory.
Yeah. They talked for a bit, and then she reportedly performed oral sex on him. Well, see, things are going good so far.
He's like, hey, this is the best Tinder date ever.
Right. Dooley then allegedly bound his hands and ankles together with duct tape. Okay, this is where it's going south.
I think she went, you know what? I pleased you. Now you have to please me.
Wait, but with your appendages duct taped together?
I'm not insane. She is. I'm just saying.
Okay.
This is her mindset.
And he initially consented, but found it odd. Okay, I find it odd too. Okay, maybe she's into the bondage thing, but
But first time meeting a girl, you don't want to go right there. That scares me because this could happen.
But here's the thing: you always, even if you're going to get taped together, you only agree to have one set of appendages taped together because you got to have something free in case you got to fight back.
True.
You got to be kung fu fighting one way or another.
That's why I always say you wait till like the third date, then try bondage.
Yes, third date, then bondage.
Because then you can trust them.
Yeah, really get to know a person before you go the bondage step.
Yeah. It's not day one you receive oral and hey, I want bondage. Okay, let's do this.
And hey, by the way, I've got duct tape. No.
See, that too was raised like, okay, if you're into bondage, why do you have duct tape? Why don't you have fuzzy cuffs?
Right, light bondage. Nothing that locks and or will rip arm hair straight out of your follicles.
Exactly.
Yeah, light bondage. After taping his arms and legs, Dooley produced a kitchen knife and demanded to get into her bedroom. and demanded he get into her bedroom.
She's a little backwards because way I'm looking, she didn't need all that because he's already saying yes to stuff.
Yeah.
She's performed, she broke the ice with the oral. Like
that's a hell of an icebreaker.
Going? Oh,
come on, Bruiser. Peck on the cheek, a little snuggling. That's an icebreaker.
Peck on the pecker's an icebreaker too.
Oral is like a hey, how you doing? That's a.
So she could have just literally said, "Hey, let's go in my bedroom."
Yeah,
and I'm sure he would have.
Oh, I think so. I think he would have been more than willing. Yeah.
But now she's making it awkward.
Yeah. You think? The victim went into her bedroom because he was afraid he would hurt her. You would hurt her. What? The victim went into her bedroom because he was afraid she would hurt her. I think it says he would hurt her. I don't think he's doing anything all taped up.
No, he's not doing a thing.
Right. And Dooley allegedly cut his shoulder with the knife. Then she allegedly used both her hands to apply direct pressure to the victim's throat for approximately 30 seconds or 20 seconds.
No.
Yeah. Now we're getting into territory I don't think he wants to get.
I think she wanted to show him the knife was real. This isn't one of those costume knives. It was a real knife.
Well, when she cuts into your shoulder and then chokes you, I think we're getting.
Yeah, I think the date's over at that point.
Yeah, I think we're getting into dangerous territory here. She allegedly stopped momentarily only to procure a belt, that's in quotes, that she put around his neck and tightened for 20 seconds. Okay, date's over. Date's over. Yeah, date's over.
I've seen a Netflix documentary about this. We're done.
Yeah, a Netflix documentary. The victim was reportedly struggling to breathe, and he checked his pulse after putting the belt around him. And she did. She did. Okay. This is weird. Okay. Dooley reportedly got angry at the victim for bleeding all over her bed.
You cut him?
Well, yeah, you can't blame a turkey if it's got stuffing in it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You put it there. So she told him to get into the bathtub.
Okay.
While the victim waited in the bathtub, Dooley reportedly ordered delivery from DoorDash. Of course.
She built up an appetite. This kidnapping thing makes you hungry.
Yeah, well, you got a naked, bleeding, taped up, belt around the neck type of boyfriend or soon-to-be boyfriend or soon-to-be dead boyfriend in your bathtub. I mean, you got to get something to eat.
Yes.
She allegedly told the victim, if you scream or say anything, I'll kill you.
Can I tell you what I want to eat? Like, you're ordering DoorDash.
Can I get something too? I mean, it doesn't seem like he's got his mouth taped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I get in on this? What are you ordering? Is this what do you order at a potential murder? Is it are we talking proteins? Are we talking carbs?
Yeah. No, you need to carb up because it takes a while. Like strangling somebody's not like you see in the movies where a couple seconds it's over. It takes minutes.
Yeah.
So she's got to carb up.
I mean,
him I'd get protein for because he's just dying. But yeah, if you're the killer, you got to carb up. You got to have the energy to expend.
Do you compromise? Is this like a pub food thing, like a Buffalo Wild Wings deal, or is this are we doing pizza? What are we doing?
I don't think we go pizza. Yeah. Even though pizza would be the fastest. I'm thinking, you go to like a Panera Bread or a sub sandwich. Ooh. Something like that. Yeah. You go to, maybe there's a good deli around. You can get that. And then afterwards, after he's dead, that's when you protein up. That's when you get your barbecue and all that being in, they're in Colorado, so.
Well, I'm thinking barbecue is easier because it covers up the blood stains. I mean, it's all
that's
messy.
True.
Yeah.
Well, she's in the bathtub now. She can just wash it off.
Yeah. So, Yeah. I think barbecue's good all the way around. Plus, you can get your carby sides on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get the mashed potatoes, the mac and cheese.
Yeah. A little cornbread.
Oh. Yeah, I don't like cornbread, but I'll eat the biscuits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Anywho.
So she orders DoorDash. She
allegedly told the victim, if you scream or say anything, I'll kill you. Dooley got back into bed after eating her meal.
Do you think she had to leave at the door, or do she think she actually talked to the dasher?
Oh, no, leave it at the door. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't want them to see what's going on. It's none of their business. It's her date.
Right. I mean, you come out with a knife and a belt or duct tape, and you're like, "Hey, you too." It's not.
Get in here, you. We're gonna really blow this guy's mind.
Yeah, that's unseemly. You just leave it at the door.
Something doesn't happen till the fourth date.
Yeah,
that's when the threesome happens.
That's right. Dooley got into bed after eating her meal, and the victim reportedly followed. Huh? He was in the bathtub, and he follows her into bed. The knife she allegedly used was near his feet, and he used it to free himself once Dooley fell asleep. So he waited for her to carve up and fall asleep. Then he cuts himself and gets free.
He's thinking, man, I don't want to die, but I want to get laid. Like, he's weighing his options there. He really is.
So she goes into a diabetic coma, and he just goes, all right, I'm going to get free. The victim was trying to grab some of his personal belongings, but he woke her up when he bumped into a table. That's when he reportedly ran into the parking lot for help. When officers searched Dooley's apartment, they reportedly found a knife near the bed, several blood-soaked rags, and blood all over the bathtub. She was booked into the El Paso County Jail on charges of second-degree kidnapping, 2 counts of second-degree assault, menacing, and false imprisonment. So there you go.
Do you think when he was like picking up his stuff, he's doing that? Oh, and then he hit the table. He went, "Oh, please, 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 please!" You know, like remember as a kid, you're trying to sneak back in the house, and you think you're being really quiet, but you're really not.
I think he was like, "Please, Psycho, never going to be my girlfriend. Please don't wake up."
Now, did he keep Tinder or did he delete it?
Oh, if I were him, I'd delete it. Yeah, the minute I get home. Yep.
The minute you get home, not the minute you get your phone.
Well, maybe his phone was back in the apartment and he didn't get it back from cops until everything was checked into evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. We go from psycho Tinder date and stabbing to a Texas man sentenced to life for fatally shooting a stranger who looked at his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he's very possessive.
Well, just, be careful who you look at and for how many seconds.
Okay. There's a time limit. There
is. Have you ever heard of this?
No. I've heard there's been studies on it.
I've heard Dave LaGreca talk about this on Busted Open.
Okay.
They talk about how many seconds is it appropriate to look at somebody else's spouse.
Okay. How many would they come up with?
I think it's a count of 3.
That makes sense.
It's like 1, 2, 3. And then that's the appropriate. It's like,
I know 8 seconds is the perfect hug.
8 seconds is perfect hug, really?
Yep. If you hug somebody for 8 seconds, it gives you the perfect feeling because you get the right amount of, dopamine and all that going through you. I prefer the 20-second hug because after about 10 seconds, the person's like, why is this person still hugging me?
Yeah. Like, I'm just trying to squeeze the life out of you. That was creepy.
Are you on Tinder?
Yes, as a matter of fact, under an alias. Yeah, I'll kill you if you come by. But
so 3 seconds.
We'll have DoorDash first. Yeah, so it's like 3 seconds. If it's any more than 3 seconds, then it's inappropriate, I suppose.
Okay.
Then it's ogling, and then you can be shot, I guess. I don't know if you're in Texas. I have no idea. We're back in Plano again. What's up with Plano?
I don't know. There's a lot of Texas stuff going on. You know why? The hurricane kind of put Florida on a stop.
That could be.
So now we're getting the crazies from Texas.
Yeah. 25-year-old man was recently sentenced to life in prison after fatally shooting a stranger in 2021 because he allegedly looked at his girlfriend. According to a news release from the Collin County District Attorney's Office on July 7th of 2021, Stephen Gambles II was headed to the Shops of Legacy to meet a friend for dinner when a complete stranger, Jordan Jacobs, passed him outside the Mini Mart. Jacobs reportedly told his girlfriend that he was going to rob Gambles because he was looking at her. Holy smokes.
Wow. So he went from this dude's checking my girlfriend out to this dude's going to rob her. He's not checking her out because she's beautiful. He's checking her out because she's rich.
I guess. Jacobs went back to his home, changed into a long-sleeve security jacket, dark pants, and a mask as a disguise, and circled around the Shops of Legacy, waiting for Gambles, the DEA's office said. Surveillance video revealed Jacobs entering Gambles' vehicle and stealing a firearm in the console. According to the DA's office, Gambles came back to his car and Jacobs pointed the stolen gun towards Gambles' head and fired. Gambles was shot in the temple.
He shot him with his own gun. This guy went above and beyond to kill this guy.
Yeah.
How attractive is his girlfriend?
No idea. On October 5th, the DA's office announced a jury found Jacobs guilty of capital murder. He was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Yikes.
Is he still with the girl?
It's a good question. Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis said in a statement, an innocent man was out enjoying dinner with a friend when his life was taken by a violent stranger. Oh, okay, so it was the guy with the girl who got killed. He called the incident a senseless and terrible crime.
It is. Yeah. It is a senseless and terrible crime.
That's astounding.
Yeah, he went above and beyond. He had a security outfit and everything, and then stole the what would he have done if he couldn't find that gun in that guy's car? Do you think he still would have gone through with it?
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would have found something.
Yeah, a knife or a strangle or just beat him to death.
Yeah. We move on to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where it's a case of a district attorney saying, hey, you know what? I finally discovered this is good enough for me. Only when it happens to him. This district attorney is in Tulsa County and was reportedly stabbed Tuesday night during an argument with his daughter.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's not someone I'm expecting to stab me.
No. On September 27th, the Tulsa Police Department tweeted that officers responded to a stabbing call involving District Attorney Steve Kunzweiler. He and his daughter were transported to a nearby hospital for treatment, and his daughter, Jennifer Kunzweiler, was arrested. KTUL TV reports that Steve and Jennifer were allegedly having an argument at their home near East 21st Street and South Yale Avenue when he was stabbed. He said in a statement following the stabbing, unfortunately today I found myself in a situation that I hoped would never happen. Fortunately, my injuries are such that I was able to go home. Thank you to everyone who expressed concern for me and my family. Kunzweiler also thanked first responders, police, and doctors for their help. Tulsa police said Jennifer is in custody and police are guarding her at the hospital while she recovers from self-inflicted wounds. On Wednesday, September 28th, Kunzweiler gave nearly a 10-minute speech about the need for mental health awareness both in Oklahoma and in the United States. He said he was a little sore and mentioned he got some staples, but overall is feeling fine. Now he makes the plea for mental health awareness.
Yeah. Not before his daughter flipped out and stabbed him.
No. Kunzweiler noted his office will not handle the case. Kunzweiler got choked up during some parts of his speech, including when he shared many families like ours have endured years of anxious concern for our loved ones and affected loved ones. No one wants to be mentally ill. The district attorney also talked about the exploding mental health crisis in our population and said he felt the system was eroding. He said when it comes to meaningful health funding, the elected leaders in our state need to make this a priority. Well, you've been elected to do so.
Yeah.
Protecting our citizens is our job. Providing adequate infrastructure to safeguard all the mentally ill citizens is your job. Oh, dear God. At the end of his speech, Kunzweiler said, stop putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Find a way to resource this problem. Well, there's a reason. Okay, so he's a district attorney.
But he's still elected to that position.
He's elected to that position. Well, you're the guy who, the buck kind of stops with you when violent crimes happen, and they happen with mentally ill people. You're the one who can suggest treatment for people instead of sentencing them and throwing them in the wrong place, which is jail. It ends with you, buddy.
He's literally the change that needs to happen.
Yeah, you're the guy who makes the change. Yeah. But he's the one up there pontificating. So,
I agree with everything he just said, but he needs to start doing that. Like, oh, this person came in, they committed this felony because they were under the influence. Why were they under the influence? Oh, they're a drug user because of mental health. Let's get them treatment. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out the source of the problem.
Meanwhile, we could go to Memphis, where I think we have a case of a woman who's probably mentally ill.
Probably.
A Memphis woman named Shine allegedly killed a man because it was time to feed her demons.
Oh, so that's what we do when we feed our demons, huh?
I guess so. A 30-year-old woman faces a murder charge after she allegedly killed a man and left his body in a vacant home. Shelby County jail records show I believe this is Shapria Williams, was booked into the jail and is being held without bond. She also reportedly faces charges of vehicle burglary and theft of property from February. According to the police report cited by WREG-TV on September 23rd, Memphis police went to a vacant home on Gruber Drive where they found Terry Massey deceased. The medical examiner reportedly ruled on his death as a homicide. WATN-TV, which also cites the report, says Massey was found in the back bedroom of the empty home and he had reportedly been stabbed to death. Williams, who reportedly goes by the name Shine, allegedly told a witness she killed Massey and even showed the knife she used to stab him. Williams allegedly told the witness she killed Massey because it was time to feed her demons.
Yeah, there's another way to do that. You can call a therapist.
Yeah, or let's just let the demons go hungry for a while.
Yeah. If the demons get to be too much, talk to somebody. Don't kill somebody.
Right. There's no need to feed any demons here. Interesting story here. You know, you have those green laser pointers that were supposedly outlawed or banned for a long time, and they have been banned for quite some time. You can't. They go like 10,000 feet in the air.
The green ones, I don't know. I've only seen red ones.
Yeah, there's
that's because they're banned, obviously.
Right. There's green ones that shine very high up into the sky. Okay. They've been banned for quite some time. You're not supposed to use them.
Is that what people use to contact UFOs?
Yeah, some people use them for contacting UFOs. Other people use them to evidently shine into the cockpit of airplanes.
I've heard about this happening.
Yeah.
In Milwaukee, it actually happened.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. You shouldn't use them.
No, it's not a smart thing either. Like, hey, let's blind this guy who's trying to transport hundreds of people safely.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we go to San Bernardino County, where a man's laser pointing allegedly caused his own collision.
That's why you don't do it in a mirror, you idiot.
A man allegedly caused a collision after shining a laser into another driver's eyes in San Bernardino County on Saturday. The suspect, 46-year-old Scott Sakea of Lancaster, has been issued a citation for brandishing a weapon. Evidently, that's a weapons-grade laser.
It makes sense, though, because you're using it for harm.
Mm-hmm. According to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the crash happened along Highway 138 in Phelan a little after midnight. The victim told deputies that Sakea was driving behind her when he allegedly felt she was driving too slow. Oh, I see where this is going.
Oh, yep. Road rage.
As Sakea passed the woman's car, he merged back in front of her and stepped on his brakes, deputies say. Never a good move.
Nope.
The woman flashed her headlights at Sakea. In response, he shined a green laser directly into the woman's eyes behind him. Oh, this asshole.
Yeah.
Behind the laser light, or blinded by the laser light, the woman crashes into the suspect's car, rear-ending him.
Well, yeah, because she can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And he's being a dick. He's slowing down, speeding up.
No injuries were reported, and the laser was recovered and booked as evidence. Sakea is scheduled to appear at the San Bernardino County Superior Court at a future date.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Road rage is a thing. I know this for a fact.
Yeah.
But you got to take your actions and, what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yep. Like,
she's behind you. You point the light. You know she's not just going to go off the road. She's going to go forward. Slamming on your brakes is not the right idea.
No, not at all. Not at all. Let's see. We move on. And we move on to meth sales, Bruiser. And why not?
You gotta love meth sales.
You gotta love the meth sales. A Rossbridge man who ran a large meth operation. This is an ironic way to get caught. Gets prisoned after a bedroom fan recorded his drug sales.
Wait. Huh?
I know, I'll explain. It's kind of
I have a fan in my bedroom, but I better not all be bugged. You've already freaked me out about tanning at Planet Fitness. Now I got to freak out about sleeping in my own bed.
By the way, have you seen any strange men in the ceiling?
No,
with a
that's
camera?
the first thing I do when I walk in there now. It's terrifying. You caused the phobia.
Sorry. A Hoover man described as the leader of a large-scale methamphetamine trafficking organization has been sentenced to prison. 49-year-old Robert Allen Osment, a radiology scan technician, ran the drug op in Hoover's Rossbridge neighborhood. Osment was sentenced to more than 15 years in prison on gun and drug charges, according to a joint announcement Tuesday by the Northern District of Alabama U.S. Attorney Prim Escalona, FBI Special Agent in Charge Johnny Sharp Jr., and DEA Assistant Special Agent in Charge Tawanda Thornton James. That's a mouthful.
That's a lot.
U.S. District Court Judge Madeline H. Haikala sentenced Osmond to 186 months. Do the math on that real quick, if you would. 186 divided by 12 is... I don't know.
I don't know either. Hold on, I can find it out.
Okay, you divide.
You read while I do that. Yeah.
186 months to conspiring to distribute and possess with intent to distribute methamphetamine, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine, and possessing several firearms in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime.
15.5 years.
Yikes! That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Previously sentenced for conspiring with Osment to distribute and possess with intent to distribute are 34-year-old Gary Daniel Mitchell of Empire. He gets 72 months. I don't know why they're breaking it down into months. It's not a baby.
I was going to say, that's 3 years.
42-year-old.
No, that's 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. 42-year-old Nicholas Lee Wilson of Cullman gets 60 months. That's 5 years. I know that much. 37-year-old Donald Thomas Kimbrough of Bessemer gets 70 months. That's a little less than 6 years. 45-year-old Rodney David Russell of Birmingham has pleaded guilty to conspiring to distribute and possess with intent to distribute methamphetamine and awaits sentencing coming up soon here. According to court documents, an organized crime drug enforcement task force investigation was initiated in early spring of 2020. A large-scale methamphetamine trafficking organization operated by Osment from his Rossbridge home. So get this. Police officers seized more than 1 kilo of crystal methamphetamine, 5 guns, $11,000 in cash. The guns included, well, we can go on and on about the guns, but Smith & Wesson 40 caliber pistol, a double tap defense LLC 45 caliber pistol, a micro Draco, is that 7.62 caliber rifle, 223 caliber rifle, a Browning 308 caliber rifle. Some good stuff.
Yeah, this is he's ready for war.
Well, you got to be armed when you're dealing meth in Alabama, I guess.
I guess you do.
Also confiscated, here we go, this will make you paranoid. The oscillating fan with a hidden video camera, which was recovered from Osment's bedroom. A search warrant was obtained for the video and audio footage. The video captured multiple hand-to-hand transactions wherein Osment was engaged in the sale of methamphetamine.
Why is there a video camera in the fan?
Probably so he could keep track.
Okay. He put it in there.
Yeah, he kept it in there, I think, to make sure that nobody was dealing behind his back.
Either that or blackmail.
Yes.
I have you on record doing this, and it backfired on him.
Exactly. Those sales, authorities said, ranged from the sale of multiple, or maybe they planted it. Maybe the cops planted it.
Maybe,
might be a
yeah. When they get the search warrant, they put an undercover in there. Yeah.
Those sales, authorities said, ranged from the sale of multiple ounces of methamphetamine to kilogram quantities. Also observed on the video recordings were instances wherein Osment possessed firearms while conducting drug transactions. In addition to drug sales, captured on video was an instance in which Osment retrieved his stash of 4 to 6 kilos of methamphetamine.
That's a lot of meth.
That'll get you going for a while. Riding the snake.
Alabama up.
That's right, riding the snake. Among the individuals captured in the video conducting drug transactions were Russell, Mitchell, and Wilson. Let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. Osment's home was forfeited to the U.S. government. The property was valued at $274,000, and encumbered by a mortgage of $164,000. So while he was doing all that meth, he wasn't paying off his mortgage.
You gotta pay your mortgage, man. Otherwise, you're gonna lose your meth house.
Yeah, you're gonna lose your meth house, dude, if you don't pay off your mortgage.
You're making plenty of money. Come on.
I know. At least make the payments.
Hey, honey, I got to make an extra kilo this month. Why? We're a little behind on the mortgage.
Yeah, let's just say I haven't paid the mortgage. The FBI and DEA investigated the case along with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. So there you go. Let's move on. Let's see here. Here we go. Speaking of being high on stuff, a man high on mushrooms is charged in United Airlines flight chaos spree.
Yeah, you don't want to do too many mushrooms before you fly.
It's bad enough when you're drunk enough where you can't sit in your seat.
I've been drunk on planes, not that drunk, but I've been drunk on planes. I've been under the influence on planes, but never mushrooms on a plane just because I know how my body interacts with them. And I don't want to be having a flip out moment.
Right.
Tripping on a plane. I'll be seeing gremlins on the wing and stuff, you know.
I think most people would. I don't know where doing mushrooms would do you any favors, but I've
done mushrooms and it's fun. My mushrooms, the second time doing mushrooms, this girl and I were off. We weren't ever dating, but she had a crush on me, I had a crush on her, but we were always with somebody. So this time, I'm single. She comes to my buddy's house. We had just done a bunch of mushrooms. She comes to my buddy's house, starts talking about how she had just broken up with her boyfriend and needed to talk to me. I'm like, sure, let's go on the balcony and let's talk. Mm-hmm. She's spilling her life story to me, and all I'm looking at is the rainbow fields that are surrounding us and the trees that are waving and talking to me, and like it's nighttime, but to me it's bright as day. The baby from the Teletubbies in the sun talking to me. And I'm trying to be as nice of a guy as I can.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're like,
in the meantime, I'm tripping balls.
You're like, that's cool, but there's a Teletubby talking to me. Your story is so interesting, but is it as interesting as a Teletubbies? Dude, chill. That is the most wild story ever.
Well, it goes on, but it's inappropriate for the radio.
Oh, I see.
Inappropriate for a podcast.
Okay. Well, dude,
we had relations. How about that?
Dude, if the Teletubby is holding the camera for it all, that's all I need to know.
No, we had found a cement dog at some yard sale, and I had bought it. We named it Stony, and for some reason, I'd painted it blue. Mm-hmm. So while the adult stuff was happening, it was like Blue from Blue's Clues was talking, doing the like they did in the show. I gotta stop. I don't know why. When I trip, I see children's shows. I don't know.
Wow. Well, you know, it's just because you've got a happy personality. That's all.
And that's what we'd watch when we'd trip on stuff.
It's better.
Mrs. Bruce used to tell me she'd get really high and watch like this weird television like kids shows. And
it's better than the walls melting and Baphomet showing up. I mean, you know, at least
It is. We did watch The Wall a lot when we were on mushrooms.
Oh.
And I remember that one of the times is when Star Wars was first coming out, the new ones. I remember we were all excited because it's episode 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. And my buddy had just got back from Alaska, and he brought a bunch. He's like, "We're gonna party tonight." We're like, "All right." So he just put a suitcase in the living room. We just started right away. Well, because we had all been talking about how excited we were for Star Wars and everything, it was a Star Wars themed trip for me, where his luggage turned into R2-D2. And he had a poster of Queen Amidala, and she started hitting on me.
Oh, my God.
It was fantastic. Yeah. And we watched Pink Floyd The Wall, but for some reason, Darth Vader's in it. Don't know why.
Wow.
But he was.
Huh.
And then the TV set walked away.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, I could go on and on and on when I was younger. I was not a good boy. I didn't break the law, per se. I mean, I did.
Well... Yeah,
I didn't go stab people or
right.
stop any airlines from flying.
No, this guy did. I'm going to stop you before an officer does call us. Stony Blue, the old stone dog.
I got to text my buddy, see what happened to that.
To Stony Blue?
Yeah, because when he moved, we thought it was gone, and then for some reason, he had it. His ex-girlfriend had put it out in the front yard of their townhouse. That's how I'm like, oh, it's still alive, and now I have to text him. I'll see where it is.
What would a stone statue would ever be dead?
Well, not dead, but like we just left it behind.
Oh, okay.
Like I got it for like $5 at a yard sale. It just spoke to me, and then I painted it blue for some reason.
That's amazing. Tony Blue himself. That's
all right. So United Airlines.
Yes, a United Airlines passenger whose attitude was further fueled by magic mushrooms wreaked havoc on a Miami to Washington, D.C. flight, including an attack on a flight attendant, federal authorities charged. I believe it's Cherie Sevilla allegedly yelled, exhibited disturbing and uncontrolled behavior, and assaulted at least 2 individuals during the wild Tuesday ride. One, a flight attendant whose right breast he grabbed and twisted. Ow.
Titty twister. Purple nurple.
I guess. Maybe
for some reason when he trips, he goes back to 3rd grade.
and literally saw the color purple. According to an affidavit filed Wednesday in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia, he copped to taking the hallucinogen psilocybin, often referred to as magic mushrooms, after FBI agents busted him when the plane landed at Dulles Airport in Northern Virginia. Sevilla, who said he had taken the drug before, was not totally surprised he acted that way after consuming it, according to authorities. The freakout began about 1 hour into the 2-hour flight and ended with him screaming and yelling incoherent things while handcuffed. Over the course of his chaotic outburst, the Miami man allegedly wandered around the plane, ran up and down the aisle, clapped loudly, and grabbed the arm of a female passenger. He refused to remain seated and even laid on the floor at one point, the filing said.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, on a plane. When a flight attendant calmly asked him to return to his seat, he grabbed her breast. Promptly, other passengers, including an onboard law enforcement officer, went and restrained him, authorities said. The high-as-a-kite traveler spent the rest of the flight screaming obscenities while under the watch of the officer and a flight attendant. He's due back in court this week.
Every flight has a marshal on it now.
I don't know that every flight does. It was exposed on the news recently that not every flight does.
Really?
Yes, not every.
I always try to, whenever I get on a flight, I always look at the guys coming on and I try to figure out who it is just by their demeanor. And I've been pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The airline said in a statement to NBC News, "We'd like to thank our crew for handling this difficult situation with professionalism." So there you go.
Especially when they're getting titty twisters. Like, ow, what are you for?
Yeah, really. Right.
When's the last time you've given a good purple nurple? It's been years for me.
Honestly?
Yeah.
I think I was a teenager.
Me too.
Yeah. I haven't done anything like that since I was a teenager. I tend to be a little more respectful. Yeah. I don't want to sound like a stuffy old man, but I know how that hurts. I've had it done to me,
I think I was in high school the last time I did it.
Yeah.
And because somebody did it to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's move forward, shall we? Speaking of being a teenager, one teenager tried to pull off a little bit of a shoplift and got burned, literally burned.
Ooh, that's why you don't shoplift hot food.
That's right. That's what this is.
Is it really?
Have you ever heard of Lil Nitro?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
The world's hottest gummy bear?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what this one teenager did. He went to a local pharmacy in Odessa, Texas. Again, we go back to Texas this week. It's Texas man, not Florida man. A local pharmacy took to Facebook this week with a tongue-in-cheek response after a teen reportedly swiped a Lil Nitro, which is the world's hottest gummy bear, from its shelves. Sunflower RX in downtown Odessa said it didn't press charges on the teen and instead hope he learned his lesson. Right?
Good for that pharmacy owner.
According to the Facebook post, the pharmacy said the teen and his friend visited the store and quickly left. The teen, later identified as a 16-year-old, then reportedly ran back into the store in a sweat. Sunflower RX said the boy grabbed a cold tea from the refrigerator in the snack cave and threw himself to the floor. Employees asked the teen if he was okay and asked if they should call for an ambulance. He then reportedly rolled over, lifted his shirt, and pointed to his stomach and replied, "Please don't. I'm okay. I just ate something really spicy."
You know don't go back into the scene of your crime to take care of that. You should have gone to a different spot to do this, kid.
Right. Well, I suppose he thinks it's a drugstore. They'll know what to do. Right. They then asked if he wanted them to call his parents, and again the boy said no. The teen then asked for a trash can because he was worried that he was going to vomit. That's when another girl came in to check on the boy. She offered to pay for the tea and then escorted the teen outside. According to the pharmacy, the boy then heaved repeatedly all over the sidewalk. Following that, the girl returned to the store, which has a great selection of gifts and snacks at the counter, and purchased a Powerade for the kid. She told employees the boy was okay and that he had just eaten something really spicy on an empty stomach. After the teens left, employees noted that a Lil Nitro, the world's hottest gummy bear, was missing from the shelf. We just put most of our inventory out yesterday, the store said in a post. I remember thinking these bears might be a problem. Anyway, there were 5. Now there's 4. I hope you are feeling better, but not so much that you didn't learn something, the post said.
Why didn't the other teen just pay for it when she was buying the tea and the Powerade?
I suppose.
Oh, by the way, this is what he ate. You know.
I suppose because they didn't realize that was it at the time.
Oh, she probably wasn't in on it?
Yeah, she didn't. She wasn't in on it, but they also didn't take inventory until later.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Sunflower RX offered up the following tidbit about the super spicy snack. Made and sold in the USA, Lil Nitro measures about 9 million on the Scoville scale.
Is that hot?
That's hot. A scale used to measure the heat of chili peppers. Put it into context, that's 900 times hotter than a jalapeno and more than 5 times hotter than a Carolina Reaper. It comes with a Cool Shield foil wrap and an ice pack to ease the pain because you'll need it.
Wait, they give you the ice pack?
Yeah.
That's a serious toy or a serious gummy.
Yeah. Now, if you're brave and want to purchase one of those hot little suckers, you'll find it says here you'll find Sunflower RX in its new location in Odessa, Texas, at 110 East 7th Street. So they give you a little promo so you can find it.
I don't get why people subject themselves to that, but I can't say anything because there was a time after a underwater needlepoint event when we stopped at a Wings place.
Yep.
And they had a sauce so hot you had to sign a
waiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was me, Mandy Leone, Delirious, Malonis, and I think Cheeseburger. And we were all like, let's try it. Like, we're not going to pay for it, but we want to try like a sample, see how hot it is.
Sure.
So they're like, yeah, that's free. Here you go. And we all signed the waivers, and Mandy filmed it. And I guess it's the funniest because we just immediate sweat and, you know.
Yep.
And I remember just thinking to myself, why do people do this? Like, I'm doing it because I'm with the group and we're having a good time. But why would you just, you know what I mean? Like, people like that stuff.
They do. They like, especially, like I see a lot of your compatriots doing the Pocky one chip challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They just, they love to torture themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it is. I'm not going for it.
Yeah. Cool. It's hot. I don't want it.
Yep.
I don't like spicy food as is.
I don't either.
I inherited it from my father.
Yep. I don't, I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I don't like hot stuff. So
exactly.
I won't go near it. We'll move on. You know, a lot of Comic-Cons going on right now.
Yeah, it is Comic-Con season, isn't it?
It's Comic-Con season. A lot of stuff going on. Minnesota just recently had their big Comic-Con. Actually, there's a couple of them going on. Darby Allin was just at Nerd and Out Con this weekend in Rochester, Minnesota.
Yeah, I'll say Mick Foley was in Minnesota, and now he's in New York.
Yep. A lot of Comic-Cons going on right now. A lot of artists are traveling the country right now for Comic-Cons that are good to check out and see and get autographs and get sketches from.
Which have you, I don't mean to go on a comic rant, but have you seen the new variant for the new Daredevil cover?
No, I haven't.
So the latest issue, it's coming out October 10th. So today is the last, well, today we're recording.
Yep.
Is the last day you can put in an order, but it's got Matt Murdock as Daredevil on the cover, but he's got like a hood and he's got like a mask. And it's just an amazing, I'll have to get the pictures and send it to you, because on the side, it shows the pencil drawings of how they got to it.
Oh, okay.
It's a fantastic cover. I gotta find a way to get it, but I'll send you.
Yeah,
when we're done here, I'll send you the pictures. You'll because you're a comic book lover like myself.
Yep.
It's in the Frank Miller style, but it's not Frank Miller. It's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. So Comic-Con season, lots of people around the country are going to different Comic-Cons because at Comic-Cons these days you can see more than just comic book artists and whatnot. You get entertainment, you get wrestling.
It's a pop-con now. It's more like, which is great. It's not like it was back in the 80s when you and I used to go.
And it was just comics. Yeah,
it was 10 of us there. And
you get anime, you get all kinds of stuff. So it turns out that actor Ray Buffer was arrested at a San Diego store for swiping $600 worth of comics from a store.
I saw it. I saw the video too. There's video of it.
Yeah, which is unusual. Now, to give you an idea, Brewster, I have 2 graded comics that are worth over $600. I mean, so that's not really, if you know, in retrospect, $600 is like nothing if you've got more valuable comics.
I said to Mrs. Bruiser, I go, that sounds like a lot, but it depends where he's picking from. Is he picking from the dollar comic section? In which case, bravo, sir.
Yeah, that's a lot down your pants.
The high-end stuff that's not behind the counter, but it's high up, so you have to get up to get it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. If they're what they call raw comics and not graded comics, then $600 worth of comics down your pants, you may look pretty impressive. But if it's a couple of graded slab books, then it's nothing. It's Actor Ray Buffer is facing accusations he swiped comic books worth hundreds of dollars from a San Diego store that blasted out surveillance footage of the alleged theft. Southern California Comics pointed the finger at Buffer, who appeared in the hit television shows ER and Curb Your Enthusiasm, for allegedly taking more than $600 worth of comics from the stores. A Facebook post shows footage of a man inside the business who appears to take comics by concealing them under his shirt. Never a good idea.
No.
Southern California Comics owner Jamie Newbold told the Post on Sunday, the New York Post that is, that after he put up a photo of an unidentified man on social media to warn other comic book stores about the possible thief, other businesses claimed that the man was Buffer. A Los Angeles comic business even sent Newbold footage of another apparent theft that occurred in its establishment showing the same person. So it's not the first time he's done it.
He's rich. Come on, man. Pay for your comics. We all of us do it.
Right. Newbold said the possible crime against his store occurred last Tuesday and that he filed a police report with San Diego authorities on Thursday. He provided the Post with a police report number and said he hopes the investigation into the incident wraps up this week. He said at least 6 to 7 comics were missing. So, okay, they're about $100.
So, he's going for the $100 ones. Yeah.
He says, "This is Ray Buffer. Our camera captured him stealing comics by concealing them in his shirt." Southern California Comics posted on Facebook. "We discovered the crime and watched the surveillance video until we saw this. We're sending over all the info to the police." Another incident involving the same man in Metropolis Comics in Los Angeles last month shows the co-owner, Elenia Rice, confronting the man who appears to have comics tucked under his shirt, according to footage posted by Southern California Comics. The owner orders him to leave, and as she turns her back, the man appears to pull comics from under his shirt and places them back on a table before walking toward the exit. Rice confirms the incident to the Post on Sunday. She also believes Buffer is the person in the footage based on comparing his appearance and the sound of his voice off their brief interaction to videos of him online. The San Diego Police Department confirmed to the Post that a police report was filed about the theft at Southern California Comics. TMZ first reported the allegations on their website. No charges against Buffer have been reported. We offered him the choice of either returning our property. We know what he took because an earlier part of the video has him holding the books, or we turn it over to the law. He emailed us and claimed we are harassing him, Southern California Comics said in the Facebook post. That takes some balls.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's not me. That's an impersonator. You're harassing me now.
Multiple outlets reportedly reached out to Buffer for comment, but got no reply. Buffer had very minor roles in single episodes of several television shows, including CSI Miami, Gilmore Girls, and Cold Case. Entertainment Weekly reported he has recently played an uncredited Russian thug in the movie Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt.
He went from credited to uncredited. No wonder he's stealing comics.
That's right. We've got 2 more stories here for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. The first one being, if you ever want to tell if you're in trouble in international waters, Bruiser, I've got the perfect scenario for you.
Okay.
You ready for this?
We've been in international waters. Let's hear.
Yep, we have. We've been in international waters together, and this is how we can tell if we're ever going to be in trouble ever again. If we happen to be on a cruise ship ever again together, okay?
Yes.
Don't ever steal a bra.
Oh, okay.
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 Here's
that's not the crime I was going to commit, but okay.
I'm just saying. Well, let's just keep our hands to ourselves. We won't steal any bras.
All right, no bras. Gotcha.
Here's the scenario. A Singaporean who allegedly stole a bra on a cruise ship could face a trial in Singapore.
Okay.
And here's how it happened. A Singaporean man who was on board a Bahamas flag cruise ship on the high seas when he allegedly broke into another passenger's cabin and stole a bra. Why you would do this, I don't know.
This goes along the peeping thing. Like, just look online.
Yeah.
VictoriaSecret.com. There's all those bras you can look at.
Just pretend you're touching it.
Exactly.
Yep. Has failed in a preliminary legal challenge against the charges he's facing. Is it NG? How do you pronounce it? Is it Ng?
NG is
Ng Kok Wai, 29 years old. Ng Kok Wai. Why? Because he wanted to touch the bra. That's why. Had argued that he cannot be tried or held criminally liable by the Singapore courts because he was on a foreign ship outside Singapore when the acts were allegedly committed.
And he's in international waters. That's what you'd think.
You would think. These arguments were rejected by a district judge. District Judge Kao Keng Siang said that when a crime has been... Do you like my mastery of Singaporean, by the way?
I do. I'm just thinking of the ballot to elect that guy.
I'd like to elect Kao Keng Siang.
He probably had the shortest name. That's why people did it.
That's right. I'll elect that guy. Said that when a crime has been committed on a cruise ship operating from Singapore involving Singaporean citizens and residents, Singapore's criminal law must have the ability to bring the perpetrator to justice. In a written judgment published on Wednesday, this is Singapore law now, not U.S., Judge Kao said Ning's, and I apologize if I got that wrong, legal position was inconsistent with the plain wording of provisions in the Merchant Shipping Act, creating a dangerous and unnecessary gap in the law and undermined public and national interests. The judge said, is it Ng?
I think it's Ng.
Ng. Can be tried in the Singapore courts and convicted if the elements of the charges are proved. But whether the accused is in fact guilty of the charges remains to be determined. Ng can face one charge of housebreaking for climbing over the balcony of the victim's cabin and then entering her cabin and committing theft. He also faces a charge of theft for stealing the victim's bra and a piece of her luggage. These offenses under the Penal Code on their own do not apply to crimes committed on a foreign ship on the high seas. However, the prosecution relied on the Merchant Shipping Act as the legal basis to prosecute Ng. Ng, who was represented by Mr. Ryan David Lim, contested the charges. It was agreed that the legal issue, whether the act was or has the effect of extending Singapore's criminal law to here's the one that'll get me. Extraterritorial acts committed on foreign ships should be determined before proceeding with his trial. In the course of arguments, a question arose over which provision under the act should be used. The prosecution said it chose Section 180 as it is extended to Singapore criminal law to extraterritorial acts, and also conferred jurisdiction on the Singapore courts to try the charges. But Judge Kao said Section 178 ought to be stated as the applicable provision. He concluded that Section 178 extended Singapore's criminal law to acts committed on foreign ships outside Singapore, while Section 180 gave Singapore courts the authority to try offenses committed outside of Singapore. So there you go. In other words, you don't take the shoulder boulder holder away from a ship in any waters because you're bound to be tried in Singapore.
He took the risky way to get in too by going in over the balcony, climbing her over, then back in the balcony. So he would have fallen. He's overboard.
That's right.
So kudos for the innovation to get in there, but a woman's gonna miss her bra. You don't steal bras and underwear. I don't get that whole stealing the bra and underwear. They got to wear them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're gonna know they're missing.
Yeah, like she might be in her bikini the whole cruise, but she's gonna get back to dock wherever they are.
Right. And finally, a Yorkshire man's torment as a mystery stranger keeps yelling "porridge" through his letterbox. You heard me right.
Yes.
This is known as good old-fashioned torment, and basically is a crime because it's just plain irritating.
I don't know. This is a crime. I love yell porridge at somebody
because it's harassment.
Well, I get that, but it's creative. There's a guy that I knew back in Milwaukee that he had some problems with another man. So what he did is he cut the bottom out of a 5-gallon bucket, or those buckets you can get from like Home Depot, the tool buckets. So he cut the bottom out of that plastic bucket and he set it at the end of the guy's driveway. And then he put 2 other ones with the whole bottom. Then he filled each one up with sand. So the guy comes home from work and he sees it. He picks up the first bucket. Everything's fine. He moves it out of the way. Picks up the second bucket with no bottom, and the sand just goes everywhere.
Oh, my God.
So now he's got to figure out a way to get it picked. Yeah. He did that for like 2 or 3 weeks straight.
Oh, my God.
And he changed where the bottom was gone each time.
Oh, my God.
He didn't get arrested, though. Like the person yelling porridge is going to.
Well, it gets better than that. Trust me. Here we go.
All right.
A Yorkshire man has been tormented by a stranger screaming porridge through his letterbox. The mystery neighbor has been shouting strange things about porridge through his letterbox at odd hours during the middle of the night in Boothtown, Halifax, for the past 3 weeks. The man
quoting Pink Floyd. If you don't eat your meat, you can't have your porridge.
Exactly.
How can you have your porridge if you don't eat your meat?
The man who has been anonymized in this article is at his wit's end and is pleading with the porridge whisperer to stop immediately. He took to social media with an appeal, telling the stranger to stop and grow up. That's in quotes. He wrote the appeal on public Facebook group 50 Shades of Halifax. That's right.
The moderator's like, we're not into this one.
That's right. We're a bondage group, sir, in Halifax. I don't know why you're telling us to stop yelling porridge in your mail slot, but
the only reason we added you to the group is because we had to kick out that lady that was on Tinder and decided to try to kill her Tinder date.
That's right.
Now we have room for bondage.
Now
here you go.
Here you go. The man wrote, "Apologies if this post is not allowed, but I'm wanting to get to the bottom of this as I'm at my wit's end. I live at Range Court Flats in Boothtown, and for the past 3 weeks, someone has still been opening my letterbox flap in the middle of the night and shouting, 'Porridge!' Sometimes it's, 'Porridge time, Papa Bear!' Or once it was, 'Eat it before it goes cold, Papa!' This bit is said in a whisper. Oh, I'm sorry. 'Eat it before it goes cold, Papa.' Before you ask, no, porridge had not been left at any times. This is clearly an unwelcome visitor. I would it to stop ASAP, he says. If this is you, grow up."
This is amazing.
Isn't it, though?
What happened? He should just leave porridge out and see what happens.
Right.
Porridge can't be that expensive, can it?
Oh, well, it's probably a little more expensive than oatmeal.
I don't think I've ever had porridge.
And grits. The post attracted lots of attention with more than 100 shares, plus hundreds of comments and likes in response. The majority of commenters saw the funny side of this whole bizarre situation. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Ricardo Hodge cracked, "Could be a serial killer. Cereal, serial killer."
No, because no porridge has been harmed yet.
Joe McGrath said, "Personally, I'd get my locks changed just in case. I'd recommend Goldilocks." Get it? Goldilocks porridge. Kaylee Glasgow wrote, the $1 million question, though, is, did you enjoy being called Papa Bear? Papa Bear.
Yeah. Hey, Papa Bear.
Others thought this should be treated seriously, however, with several posting offering advice to the upset man. Diana White responded, I'm the only person that feels sorry for this guy. Worst crime in my eyes, feeling unsafe in your home. Hope it stops soon. Naomi Raggio said, WTF? I found it funny to read at first, but that's actually pretty creepy. It freaked me right out.
It is creepy, but funny at the same time. It's a great prank.
It is. Marie Fox, no relation to our Mally Fox, said, buy a wildlife camera. Records when motion, you will soon have your culprit.
Yeah, or buy a Ring.
Yeah. Yep.
We have the Ring doorbell. It's amazing.
Yep. Just remember, I would pay good money. I don't know if I'd pay good money. I don't have a mail slot. But if I had a mail slot, I would pay good money for someone to come by in the middle of the night and whisper, eat it before it goes cold, Papa. Just saying that would... and I don't know, I think I'd pay good money for that girl in the bikini who came out of the fire truck to say, eat it before it goes cold, Papa. Just saying. That's it for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals this week, Bruiser. Want to tell people where you're going to be this week?
I'm actually off the next 3 weeks, and I couldn't be more excited.
Oh, look at that.
I'm actually, Mrs. Bruiser and I are talking to Mandy Leone right now. We're going to make a trip out by her and do some investigating, some of the paranormal kind.
Really? So she's up in the eastern coast, isn't she?
She's in Pennsylvania. Yes.
Yeah.
I won't say the exact time, but yeah, she's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So,
are you talking about maybe the trip to Salem?
No, that we're not going to do.
Okay.
That will be coming up, but it's too short notice now to put something together.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
So she's got a couple places that she's been in contact with, and so we're gonna. Within the next 3 weeks, we're going to make our way and just spend the weekend with them and see what's going on and see what spooky stuff we can get.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. And then I'm also going to be doing, like I said, I'm doing research about little local urban legends in the towns around here. And
yeah.
There's one that's 15 minutes away that I got to go to because it'll go into our True Crime Tuesday and our paranormal show because it's about a girl that was murdered. So I want to research that, see if she really was. Mm-hmm. And then I guess her spirit still haunts in front of the woods. So
nice.
I'm going to check that out and see the validity. Is that the validity?
Yeah, the validity.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. So now I got no more underwater needlepoint for a while. I'm going to work on my other passion.
Nice. Well, we'll look forward to hearing about that, about both the investigating and the true crime aspect. So
yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I got nothing planned either. Other than trying to get this chipmunk in the ground. I mean, that sounds bad, like I'm trying to shoot it or something. But I mean, trying to get him, to hibernate. That's about it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, tomorrow it's Supernatural News. We'll cover all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of strange stories. We got some funny stories as well. But we've got lots of entertainment for you tomorrow. On Thursday, Ronnie LeBlanc. I believe he's on one of them there Bigfoot shows that you watch on TV. He's got a brand new monster book out there, so we will talk cryptids on Thursday. That's coming up.
You've been hitting home run on Thursday shows.
I'm trying.
The demonologist, Nathaniel, was amazing to listen to.
Nathaniel Gillis.
And then La Carmina, is that her name?
La Carmina.
Yeah. Oh, I learned so much.
I did.
The way she separates it all, but still keeps it all on one umbrella, I really enjoyed.
I did get a little flack from a vocal minority. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I listened to the shows, obviously.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it with her,
and I did too. I enjoyed my visit with Carmina, and but we'll just talk a little bit about it on the show tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
The vocal minority. So. Yeah. So
I will defend you till the day I die. That was a great listen, and it was educational, and
that's what it was meant to be. And that's what we'll talk about the vocal minority.
Both shows opened my eyes to new things, and that's what I love about a good interview is when it makes you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think you know the norm, but it makes you think. And
Exactly.
both those did that.
And that's what we aim to do on the show. That's all we aim to do. But we'll talk more about it tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow.
Yes.
So for Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. We will see you tomorrow for Darkness Radio. But thank you for joining us today on the best in true crime podcasting. This has been True Crime Tuesday.